The new Pope, Robert Prevost, going with a name that likely reflects some of his beliefs, says Indianapolis Archbishop Charles Thompson.
He picked Pope Leo XIV as his name as Pope. Pope Leo XIII was concerned in his time about rights of workers and working conditions and the right for unionizing and making sure people were being treated fairly.
Thompson making those comments during a press conference Thursday. He says the Cardinals mostly selected a man of faith, a man of prayer, and a man of hope. It's game day for the Indiana Pacers. They will host the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semis this evening. Tyrese Halliburton says he expects the Cavs to come out swinging, with them being down 2-0 in the series.
I mean, the series isn't over. Far from over. This is a team who I doubt they've lost 3 games in a row all year. I don't know the exact number, but I'm sure it hasn't happened often. So we're going to see a desperate team, a team who's coming in here, to win 2 games.
Tip-off from Gainbridge Fieldhouse is at 7:30 Eastern. The average price for gas across Indiana today, $3.12 per gallon, according to Gas Buddy. That's down 4 cents from where it was on Monday. The cheapest gas in the state is right here in Indianapolis, where it is on average $2.70. Traffic on the 5s. Matt Baer, what's going on?
What's happening, Jared? Looking at northbound 65 south side, slow from Raymond Street into the south split because of road construction. We lose lanes the closer to the south split we get. And inbound 69, still a pocket of slow from 96th Street to 82nd. Traffic sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs. For protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. I'm Matt Baer with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
This May, you can be a hero at the finish line. Say yes to organ donation and talk to your family about your decision. A message from Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
And the forecast now from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Mostly sunny, slightly cooler, a little breezy, but mild this afternoon, a high of 68. Clear, quiet, and crisp overnight, a low of 45. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
See, Casey, this is why betting on the Pope was a stupid idea.
Yeah, you would not have gotten any money off of that, huh?
And I tried to tell you, look, Casey, that is utterly ridiculous that you are telling our audience they should bet on the Pope. You insisted on rolling those odds out for the people, and then it was some guy nobody had ever even heard of in the betting markets.
Well, I didn't encourage anybody to bet on the vote. Or what did I just say? Bet on the Pope.
That's right.
Yeah, but it surely surprised many, many people.
And here's the other thing that's bad for you, because as the residential Catholic of the Kendall and Casey show, you were the official Pope handicapper for the betting odds that we laid out. So next time you're going to have a really tough road to hoe in terms of getting yourself on media programs as a Pope betting handicapper.
Yes. Well, I think it will be potentially decades before it happens again. And it was announced yesterday, of course, from Rome, that the American Cardinal Robert Prevost was elected the 267th Pope. He chose the name Leo XIV. And his first words to the faithful were, "May peace be with you all."
All right. So, this is so fascinating to me as a Catholic. I was talking to some people about this yesterday. It's like being able to be an outsider looking in because all of these things are happening. And in a sense, it does impact me because, as we saw with great world leaders like John Paul II, the right pope and the alliance that he made with Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan can have a profound influence on the world, whether you're Catholic or not.
Absolutely. Even if you're non-Catholic, he has influence over 1.4 billion people.
And foreign policy and the ability to unite world leaders around common causes, et cetera, et cetera. So it does have an impact in that sense. However, from a just purely religious perspective, I am not a Catholic, so I'm able to watch this from afar and see all of these people who are responding to this thing in real time. And this isn't, like, nobody thought this was going to be the guy. So the moment he's picked, people then start, they go, oh, he's an American, so there's probably more deets about this guy or stuff we can find on him than, say, the traditional popes we've seen picked in the past. Obviously, there was no social media when John Paul was the pope. The other two, since the invention of social media, I don't think of Benedict and obviously the most recent pope, I don't think they're, like, banting about the streets, right? They were older people when they became pope, et cetera. And so you didn't really get, they had the mystique of the pope about them. This guy becomes sort of the first guy where there is stuff readily available on him because he was basically, it's like the King Ralph movie where John Goodman becomes the King of England. He's a Kev, you ever seen the King Ralph movie from the early 90s?
I have not.
You would love the King Ralph movie. John Goodman is some normal guy who, through some accidental happenstance, gets to become the King of England. And this is this guy. He's like a normal dude who becomes the Pope, and now there's all this stuff on him, and the people on the internet are just scouring, trying to find any tweet or television commentary or print, and then come up with some definitive view of this guy and how
what he's going to be like and how he's going to lead the church. That's right. And I don't think that you should look at the Pope through a 20-year Twitter lens, especially when you're comparing it to a 2,000-year-old church. We're looking at him, or many people are trying to determine what he's going to be like, and they're viewing it through the lens of the American left and right politics. You have to keep in mind, this is a global figure. He is a global figure ahead of a religion. He's not leading one single country with left and right politics. He's leading an entire religion.
And it is fascinating to me how there are some people who turn everything that happens in the world about Donald Trump. Like, he wrote this about borders, or he wrote this about Trump. He's the Pope for the whole world, the Pope for the whole world in the sense of the Catholic Church across the globe. He has way bigger things on his mind than just Donald Trump, and he may have some view of some Trump policy, but in terms of now being the head of a church that has 1.4 billion members, Trump is actually a very small fish for him now, as weird as that sounds.
Well, there's a lot of potential for compromise because he seems to me to be somewhat of a centrist person. He has a centrist position. He's known for building bridges. And will he try to build the bridge between the old church, global south, and the modern world, as we're talking about? He's not afraid to speak his mind. There are a few things that MAGA won't like to hear about him, but there are many things that I think they will like to hear about him. He's spoken out against alternative lifestyles. I mean, he said the promotion of gender ideology is confusing because it seeks to create genders that don't exist. Pope Leo XIV said in his speech from the balcony at St. Peter's Basilica that, quote, "We are always working as men and women faithful to Jesus Christ." He only mentioned 2 genders, and he mentioned Jesus Christ 7 times in that very short speech. He's pro-life. We know that he's a registered Republican, but The Catholic Church is not the position of your government. The doctrine is the position of the church. They're different.
You're right. And so I just thought this was so interesting that this was the first election of the Pope in what I would call the explosion of the social media era, because the previous Pope had been, like a decade had been the Pope. And obviously there was Twitter in 2015, 16, whenever he was elected Pope. But the TikTok, the Instagram, the expansion of Twitter, the world has changed dramatically in terms of how podcasting, YouTube, the continued evolution of those things, expansion of those things. This was the first sort of selection of a Pope in the modern social media era, and it was just fascinating to me. And I had to check myself because I'm reading this stuff in real time going, ooh, that doesn't look great. But then you start seeing some other people chime in who are respected conservative commentators going, yes, there's this thing, right? And of course, if borders are but the view, and I'm speaking from just a very cursory knowledge, Casey, the Catholic Church as a collective tends to view borders as a more open thing, right? I mean, that's not just the Pope. You're basically in the modern Catholic Church going to run into that with almost any person who is going to be the Pope. And if that is your singular issue, then yeah, you're probably always going to be disappointed in whoever had been picked to be the Pope.
Yes, but it's not like he's saying you have to welcome them in and allow them to break your laws. He's still talking about legal immigration.
Right. So there are things, as you said, though, once you start doing a deeper dive, and there are things that are probably concerning as an American, views that he has that are probably not great for our country, not great for how we view things. But there also seem to be numerous things that he is pretty solid on that will be good for that church. It will reset some things that have alienated people in that church. And the bottom line is, when you are a figurehead for 1.4 billion people, you are never going to make everybody happy.
No, clearly not.
And you have to judge that person in the collective body of work when the body of work is done. And that's how you will decide what sort of leader they were.
There are a lot of things that you can look towards, like the vestments that he chose, which were more traditional garb. And I think that is a sign of humility, that he's turning his papacy over to the church rather than his own personal preferences. Obviously, the choice of his name, which is a nod to a very conservative 19th century Pope. And there are other things. It has been said that he's going to focus on Catholic social teaching, and we'll get into that in just a minute, and how that relates to your property taxes, of all things. If there is any talk show in America that can connect the dots between the election of a pope to property taxes, it is us, and we will do that.
Because the name he chose, and we've got a guest coming up who is a very respected professor at DePaul, of Catholic studies at DePaul, who's going to go kind of do a deep dive on who this guy is, and sort of the good, the bad, the ugly, the whatever, about why he was the consensus pick. It's pretty interesting what this guest will have to say. And one of the things is, it's very interesting the name he chose, because that is a continuation of correct me if I'm wrong, the name means a lot in, the Catholics are screaming at me for using this phrase, but in the popedom, the Pope world, right? The name
papacy.
Is the papacy. Thank you.
It is.
I'm not trying to be insulting by saying that.
It's a nod to the previous predecessor who had that name and how they want to model their papacy.
Right. So he's Leo the 14th. You have the quote from Leo the 13th, right?
I do.
Would you like to read that?
Do you want to do that now, or do you want to take a break?
We'll take it into break, and we'll talk about it when we come back then.
Okay. So Leo the 13th said, and I quote, "Private property is a natural right flowing from the principles of natural law."
Seems to be somebody who would have been very upset about the Senate Bill 1.
We'll talk more about it coming up. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Another update is just minutes away.
Cardinals locked inside a conclave, taking secret votes the second day.
Need to reach a 2/3 majority to confirm a new pope.
Hear the news.
President Trump's trade deal with Britain. There may be more to come.
As events happen.
Hit and run, kill the child.
White Dodge Charger speeding, striking a bicycle, carrying a man and a child.
We'll happen to be there.
29-year-old man collapsed and died shortly after crossing the finish line. Mini marathon.
93 WIBC Mobile News.
Greetings, Boomtown. Ever since this neighborhood switched to Xfinity Internet,
The Wi-Fi is booming!
Xfinity combines the power of internet and mobile with one all-in plan.
So we've all got lightning-fast, secure Wi-Fi speeds at home and on the go with Wi-Fi Power Boost from Xfinity Mobile.
You get the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best in-class equipment and unlimited data included. Plus, add an unlimited mobile line.
All for only $40 a month for 1 year. To celebrate this combo, we're mashing our shows together.
It's everything you need all in one plan. Plus, learn how to get a free 5G phone with a premium unlimited line. Now, sit back and relax with the smooth, relaxing sound
of face-melting acid metal!
Brilliant.
Visit Xfinity.com to learn more. Ends June 23rd with paperless billing and autopay stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Internet gateway required. Taxes, fees extra. After 1 year, rate increases to $110 a month. After 2 years, regular rates apply. Actual Wi-Fi speeds vary. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Your future holds so much potential. The question is, are you planting the right seeds today to make it flourish? At Howard Bailey Financial, we strive to help you create a retirement plan that can adapt to your evolving needs, offering guidance to bring you clarity, confidence, and purpose along the way. Whether you're just beginning or refining your financial strategy, we're here to support you. Let's grow something lasting together. Text GROW to 888-262-1104 to start planning for your future full of possibility. That's GROW to 888-262-1104. Take the first step today. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
They told us nothing but lies.
These timeshare thieves out there are terrible.
They bullied us.
Our timeshare is all a scam.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
I was completely taken advantage of.
Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group, and I know the tough spot you're in. Are you asking yourself, why did I buy that timeshare? I'll tell you why, because that presentation wasn't a normal sales pitch. It was a show to convince you that timeshare is a great investment. They told you it was available today and today only. They said you're foolish if you don't buy, and unfortunately, you believed them. We get over 3,000 complaints a week from folks just like you that were misled into buying a timeshare. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-881-4242. 800-881-4242. 800-881-4242.
J&V here from Miss M's Home and Garden. The annual 20% off hanging basket sale is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Miss M's Home and Garden. While there, check out the nursery full of high-quality trees and shrubs and the greenhouse overflowing with annuals, perennials, and more. The garden shop also has all the seasonal decor you need. Don't forget the hanging basket sale, Friday through Sunday only. 20% off all hanging baskets. Miss M's is located on State Road 135, south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
B&W's Premier Club membership goes a long way to prevent heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical problems. Go to bplusw.com.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard Air dealer.
Look, I say this as a non-Catholic. I think what happened yesterday, and any time there is the picking of a new pope, one, because it's so rare.
Well, it's a very historical moment.
You think about, especially in the modern era where people are living longer and higher quality of existence. So in my life, there have now been 4 popes. There have been, let's see, Reagan, Bush, Clinton, Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, Trump. There have been 8 presidents, 7 men, but 8 presidencies.
Mm-hmm.
So the Pope the picking of a Pope is a much more rare event than even the presidency. And think of what a big deal we make out of that.
Yeah.
And when you think from a global perspective, while the president of the United States obviously has a profound impact on global economics, peace, and military engagements, all of these things, the president is not the leader of anything other than the country in which he is elected to serve. The Pope is globally is a figure that many people defer to. 1.4 billion people. I'm not saying all of them are as actively practicing as the other or as everyone, but you look at a world influence, the Pope is far greater probably than even the president of the United States.
Well, and they have different missions too, don't they? One is in charge of a congregation, a very large congregation, and the other is in charge of the sovereignty of a country. And so many people are trying to play this gotcha game, looking through old tweets to see what he's going to be like. And I don't think that that's how you should be viewing the Pope. His mission is different than Donald Trump. Oh, and by the way, he's going to be around a lot longer than Donald Trump's presidency is going to be. This is a guy who was the prefect of bishops, and the translation of that is he was in charge of picking every new bishop around the entire world. He's, he thanked Francis in his speech, which is typical. You're going to thank and mention your predecessor. Many people.
Yeah, what's he going to say? Hey, he's dead. I'm glad the guy was a total zero. Next.
Right. And many people are saying, well, he's going to be Francis, 2.0. Well, he supported Francis, but he did make his own name. It seems to me that he was balanced and moderate on a lot of issues. I've heard both conservatives and progressives liked him. He was a missionary. He was actually working in the field, so to speak. This is a guy who would go to press conferences and say that the church needs shepherds, not managers. The bishops should smell more like their flock rather than trappings of their higher office. It's being...
Wait. Say that again. That's an interesting quote.
The church needs shepherds, not managers.
Uh-huh.
The bishops should smell more like their flock than the trappings of higher office.
And I think that is something that could apply to every single politician in this country.
You need to be with the people you lead.
Because how often have we talked about these guys, even the people who go, and many of them don't go in well-intended, but even those who go in well-intended.
Turn.
And they turn, right? I mean, we've laid out
they get
on this
consumed
show,
by the power.
very publicly, people who we were once close to, it seems like it happens to almost every single one of these people who gets swallowed up in this swamp and the luxury of comfort, and it's just easier to go along and get along rather than stand up for the people. And that's a very, not only is it interesting, I think it's a very comforting quote to see from this guy, because we need a pope who will challenge the world. And that means challenge Donald Trump, but it also means challenge Vladimir Putin. It means you are holding people to account who are not representing the values that your church puts forward. Not a politician in that position, but somebody who, like a John Paul, will talk about the very clear black and white, right and wrong, the idea of liberty, the idea of freedom, the idea of individualism, and the idea of standing for those things and up against people who are not for those things.
So Pope Leo XIV, he's going to have the ability to speak to priests, farmers, world leaders, and even Americans. Yes, that's right. Even us. Like, you think about different things. Has he shopped at Walmart?
Yeah, right?
Probably.
I mean, and we'll get into this because we've got a very interesting guest coming up next. I mean, obviously, as the first American pope, this guy, like, you never... The Pope was always a person before they were the Pope. They had a name, they had a life, they had a story. But as foreigners, we don't know that story. We don't understand because they come from other countries. Obviously, for many of these people, their lives as cardinals are somewhat not shrouded in mystery, but isolation, especially as it relates to other than the areas in which they are serving. And so because many of them don't speak English as a first language, They're not from our country. We don't understand the customs or things they were doing. You think of them as these mysterious type of figures. This guy, at least to us, is the first pope regular people are going to get.
We can understand. It does upend the idea that cardinals didn't want to align with a superpower. And when he was speaking on the balcony yesterday, he spoke in Italian, Latin, and Spanish. But today, when he was giving Mass, he did speak in English and in Latin.
Real quick, I was just going to say, because I know I got to get to a break. Think about this, and this is always fascinating to me about the Catholic Church. And everybody's free to operate as they want. But I'm watching this thing where they're unveiling him, right? Where he walks out and, he's got the hat on and the people are cheering. And I'm thinking,
he seemed to get very emotional.
Well, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, okay, 6 hours ago, you're just some dude that nobody's ever heard of. And now you are a universally, whether it's deserved or not, I don't know. We'll see how this guy plays out. But you go from 6 hours ago, no one knew who you were. Maybe 3 hours ago, nobody knew who you were. And now you are this above reproach, universally revered and respected figure for 1.4 billion people in 3 hours.
Yeah.
Like that is an amazing insight into humans, into religion. I was watching that going, what an incredible thing playing out in real time.
Well, I don't know if above reproach would be. I
think the Catholics do view the Pope as above reproach.
He's going to have humility. They believe that his election is ordained by God, and I hope that he will rebuild trust with the church, unify the church, bring stability. I think a lot of young people are going to respond to him, especially if he's decent. And I've never seen more people talk about religion on TV, on the radio, on social media. I think that's a great thing. And I don't want to be black-pilled. I don't want to see the negativity of, he's going to be Francis 2.0. I think it was a joyful day. I'm excited about it. And there are so many possibilities. And, I just remain hopeful.
All right, we got a Pope expert coming up next. Who do we have? What's going on?
Scott Morangello. He is the Associate Professor of Catholic Studies at DePaul University.
So he knows about the Pope and the Pope world, and he will tell us everything we need to know about this guy, Leo XIV.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Possibly lowering tariffs on China. Mostly sunny. 47 on Monument Circle. Your high today, 68. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:31. There may soon be a big drop in President Trump's tariffs on China.
The president is fresh from announcing a new framework agreement with the UK, but it appears it's China he's eyeing. The president has new Truth Social posts. He says China should open up its market to the USA, would be so good for them. Closed markets don't work anymore. The U.S. goods trade deficit with China was more than $295 billion last year. That's for context. The president applying applying new pressure on China as Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer prep for talks with the Chinese trade negotiators in Switzerland this weekend.
Fox's Madeline Rivera at the White House. The president says the tariffs on China could be lowered to 80%. They are currently at a minimum of 145%. President Trump also saying he's open to a small tax increase on wealthy Americans to help pay for his plan to boost the middle and working classes. Pope Leo XIV beginning his first day by leading Mass at the Vatican. Leo is the first North American pope to be elected. The 69-year-old was born in Chicago and spent his career ministering in Peru. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. All the major indices are up. The Dow up 91 points to 41,368. The S&P 500 also up 20 points to 5,663. As for the NASDAQ, it's up 100 points to a little over 20,000. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
During much of Indiana's history, communicating on the telephone with the deaf or hard of hearing was nearly impossible. Friends and loved ones couldn't stay in touch, so the hard of hearing became isolated. Today, those with hearing loss have equal access with the captioned telephone from Relay Indiana and can keep their independence. Relay Indiana allows a caller to read what the other party is saying. This advanced technology keeps Hoosiers connected so that everyone can contribute to Indiana's productive future. Learn more at RelayIndiana.com.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
Make this your year. Looking for a new career in the high-demand fields of IT, cybersecurity, and AI? Attend classes live, online, or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. Financial aid is available to those who qualify.
Need air conditioning service and want to work with a local company you can trust like B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical? Find that independent American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Wondering when to plant grass seed for ideal results? Wondering who has the best lawn products? Well, now is the time, and great lawn starts with Jonathan Green products. Hey, Pat Sullivan here from Sullivan Hardware and Garden and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. And like Sullivan Hardware and Garden, Jonathan Green is a family-owned and operated business. Jonathan Green has only premium quality Black Beauty grass seed, soil foods, and fertilizers to ensure that you achieve noticeably better results on your lawn. By making your work easier and delivering an impressive lawn, Jonathan Green products will turn your lawn into a green space to be enjoyed with family and friends. Black Beauty seed mixtures are sold at Sullivan Hardware and Garden. Improve your lawn with Jonathan Green. Shop, play, experience. Spring with Sullivan's. 71st and Keystone, 49th and Penn, Cicero, and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan in Fishers.
You love spring and indies, so don't spend it painting. Do what your neighbor Mike did. He called Rhino Shield.
Our home is basically a contemporary, and we just started noticing that the paint was just fading and just looked like garbage. We had received a postcard from Rhino Shield, and we decided to take a look at it.
Rhino Shield's formulated for our specific climate here in Indiana.
The process with Rhino Shield and their crew, they were just very conscientious. We had problems in the past with painters. They leave debris and everything. Well, we didn't have that with Rhino Shield.
Way better than paint, backed by a 25-year warranty. Right now, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
The thing about Rhino Shield, the heat gain has been reduced, and we save $70 a month. You don't hear that about any type of paint.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Well, Jesus was an only son as he walked up Calvary Hill.
Casey, I don't know if you're aware they picked a new pope.
Yes, it was big doings yesterday in Rome as the College of Cardinals, all 133 of them, came to a majority and selected the 267th pope of the Catholic Church.
And it's the first American pope.
This is true.
And as the residential Catholic of the Kendall and Casey show, I put you in charge of finding us a guy who could talk about the new pope.
And I did. Success, Rob. You can count on me.
Tell us all about our very fabulous guest who will educate our audience like never before about the new American pope.
So joining us is Scott Morangello, and he is the Associate Professor of Catholic Studies at DePaul University. So, Scott.
Scott, tell us all about this American pope.
Yeah, so Pope Leo XIV now is, I think it's important first to note that he almost certainly named himself after Pope Leo XIII, who was Pope at the turn, from the 1800s to the 1900s. Pope Leo XIII had a famous encyclical called Rerum Novarum, which was about the rights of workers. Pope Leo XIII was very interested in the connection between science and religion. He opened the Vatican Observatory, which still exists today. And he was very interested in Catholic education. He promoted the writings of St. Thomas Aquinas. So I think it's fitting. I should say that I think Pope Leo XIV is signaling all sorts of things by choosing that name.
Scott, for our non-Catholics in the audience, of which I am one, and who don't know the historical nature of the process by which these popes choose names, is that really a big thing? They look to people in the past, and then they build off of that person, so the name tells us a lot.
Absolutely. So we can even see so in the Second Vatican Council, which was a big deal for the Roman Catholic Church in the 1960s, the Pope who started that was John the 23rd. The Pope, he died during the council, and then Pope Paul VI followed him. And then immediately after that, the Pope was named John Paul, and he clearly was building on the legacy of the two previous popes in the council. Pope John Paul died actually just basically a month after he was elected, and John Paul II, whom probably most listeners might know, who was Pope for a long time, he was clearly building on the legacy of John Paul and John and Paul. So it's a pretty common thing, and I think it's an important. It's really the first thing that the Pope does as Pope is choose his name.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal.
So we've got Scott Morangello who's joining us. He is Associate Professor of Catholic Studies at DePaul University. Another thing that we can look to is his vestments, the ones that he chose, a sign of humility, possibly subduing his personal preferences to the church, that he went with the more traditional garb. I guess the big question many people are asking is, what kind of pope do we expect Pope Leo XIV to be?
Yeah, so if you were able to listen to or see a translation of his speech to the world, like his kind of introduction to the world, it was pretty clear to me that the sorts of themes he was talking about, peace, unity, synodality, which means the church making decisions as a group, were very near and dear to Pope Francis's heart. It's also worth noting that Pope Francis appointed 108 of the 133 cardinals who were to choose his successor. And one slight correction, in order to become Pope, you need to get 2/3. So it's not just like 50% plus one, it's 2/3 majority. So the fact that it was only 4 ballots, Pope Benedict XVI, when he was elected, it was only 4 ballots. So the fact that it was only 4 ballots and 2/3 of 133 made that choice so quickly suggests to me that the cardinals believed that the Holy Spirit was leading them to choose someone who was very much like Pope Francis.
I have a very fabulous question. It may win me our Marconi for this question. Would you like to introduce our guest first, though, Casey?
Yeah, we've got Scott it's Scott
Morangello. I got it, Casey. I got you.
We've got Scott Morangello.
I was going to give you a chance to show off your skills, but I got you, Scott Morangello.
Scott Morangello, and he is Associate Professor of Catholic Studies at DePaul University.
So Casey and I had a big fight. We told Scott before we brought him on here today. We had a big fight on how to pronounce his name, and we were both totally wrong.
Totally wrong, and I clearly am struggling.
Okay, Scott, so does anybody have any idea like what goes on in the conclave when they're picking this pope? Obviously, when we pick a president, they give speeches, they debate, we go vote, they tally the votes. Do we know, are there like speeches going on in there? Are they rallying people individually? Do we know how this whole process works?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think for completely understandable reasons, we think of this process like, oh, there's got to be like backdoor deals or smoky rooms, that kind of thing. Whereas it almost certainly is a lot more like a religious retreat than it is like, the 1968 Chicago Democratic Convention. And sure, people are talking to each other and, they eat meals together. But there'll be, like, in the first ballot, I'm sure, like, a bunch of names were tallied, right? And then they probably saw, like, oh, this guy got a bunch of votes. This other guy that I voted for didn't. Maybe I should be choosing that first guy or something like that. So, again, the fact that it was 4 ballots, it's pretty quick. And so my sense is, and it's only a sense, I have obviously no insider information, is that they came to consensus pretty quickly.
So I'm curious, what does this mean to Catholics worldwide, but especially to Americans, as it's been noted all the time that he's the first American pope?
Yeah, so I think a lot of that remains to be seen, obviously. It's interesting that Pope Leo obviously is American citizen, born in the United States, went to Villanova University, went to Chicago Theological Union, but he actually hasn't lived in the United States of America for a long time. He was a bishop in Peru for a bunch of years. He's lived in Rome for a bunch of years. So, he has both obviously an American viewpoint on things because he's an American, but he's also a Peruvian citizen. He's lived in Rome for a while, so I think he very much has a kind of world view of things. And how that all translates, we'll have to see.
Yeah, to be determined.
Is Scott, is this weird that this is the first pope that Americans can kind of relate to in the sense of there are photos of him doing American things? There are photos of him doing things that we recognize, like being, for lack of a better term, a regular dude. Like we think of the Pope as this dude sort of shrouded in somewhat, of a mystery and a guy who, lives a life that you don't see much of. He's sort of the first pope that Americans will be able to look at and go, we saw you
he's
elevate.
A White Sox fan.
Yeah, he's one of us.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Like the fact that his brother's on TV saying like, oh yeah, he's a White Sox fan. Our mom was a Cubs fan, but he's a White Sox fan. And I teach at DePaul, and I used to teach at Villanova.
But didn't his mother go to DePaul, Pope Leo?
His mom went to DePaul. Exactly. Yep. And so, the fact that the Pope is like from the Big East, he's probably like watching the Knicks. Who knows?
But he was in Chicago in '85. He could have done the Super Bowl shuffle.
Very possible.
And he may I didn't mean to cut you off, Scott, but he may actually be a Notre Dame football fan.
Well, he's right outside of Chicago.
Well, who knows? No doubt, I went to Notre Dame as well. No doubt that, Notre Dame and the state of Indiana would like to claim him, but I don't think we have quite as good a claim as Chicago and Philadelphia do. But I think that's absolutely right. I mean, I was really surprised that it was an American. I had really, I was certain it would not be. And I don't know the Pope personally, but I have friends who do, and they all say he's like a very humble and affable guy, likes to listen to people, makes decisions in concert with others. So, I do think Americans will very much be able to see themselves in him.
Scott, thank you so much for your time, man. We appreciate it, and keep up the good work. We appreciate you giving some insight to our audience on the first American Pope.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. You know what time it is, baby. Beer Sample Friday. The biggest stories in Indy. And Beer Sample Friday. Let's go!
Tamara and Nigel for Window Nation. May is officially here, and so are the rising temperatures. Beat the heat and keep the AC in your home with Window Nation's energy-efficient vinyl windows. During their semi-annual sale, you'll get 60% off and a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows. Plus, no money down, no interest, no monthly payments until 2027.
That's a lot of savings and a super smart investment. So how exactly do they keep prices affordable? Window Nation works directly with the top window manufacturers manufacturers in this country. Windows assembled right here in the USA. Plus, their windows come with a lifetime warranty, so you'll keep saving long into the future. Window Nation's semi-annual sale. It ends soon, so do not miss your chance to get 60% off and a free entry door when you purchase a house full of windows. Plus, you don't pay anything until 2027. Schedule your estimate right now. 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ziprecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Hey, spring selling season is here. Rates are down. Activity is up. Now is the best time in years to sell your home. However, some homes are sitting on the market. Hiring an expert who can maximize equity and minimize hassle is the key. That expert agent I recommend to sell your home is Mark Dietl. Maybe you want a fast, guaranteed, no-hassle home sale, but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Andrew in downtown Noblesville had to say about working with Mark Dietl. Recently retired, our goal was to sell our home of 30 years and buy an RV and spend summers traveling to Montana and winters in Arizona. Mark Dietl's team made it happen. Fast. We went under contract in 3 days over asking price with no contingencies. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl, 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. It's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
You can be a hero at the finish line when you say yes to organ donation. I'm Jake Query, sports talk show host and auto racing announcer. And race fans across Indiana share their stories with me about how organ donation saves lives. Like Jess, a lifelong race fan whose life was saved after receiving a liver transplant in 2021 because someone just like you said yes to organ donation. Be a hero and say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the BMV.
Big stories locally, big moves in Washington. WIBC.com keeps you updated throughout the day with all the news that matters, plus traffic, weather, and more on your phone, your laptop, wherever you are. It's news when you need it.
Okay, yes, I'm going to crap all over Braun next segment. I don't think I have quite enough time to say all the things I need to say about the tax increase he just proposed yesterday.
We need more time.
And we're going to do this every day for the next 3.5 years. My pledge to our audience is that for the next 3.5 years, or until Braun gets miserable enough and quits, is that one segment of the 12 we do here every day, one segment in some shape, form, or fashion, I will take a giant steamy dump on Mike Braun.
Okay.
That is my goal over the next 3.5 years.
Well, we talked about how with our previous guest, how the election of Pope Leo XIV, his choosing of the name Leo was a big signal about how his papacy was going to be. And of course, that was a nod to Leo XIII. And it was Leo XIII who argued that private property is a natural right flowing from the principles of natural law.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll get into Braun's new tax increase proposal in next segment. But I wanted to mention this because, and I told you this, I'm not going to tell you. This is what we call an impromptu segment.
I love this.
I know. You want to talk about somebody who broke out, and you were sweating profusely.
I never know what's coming out of that
rolling.
head.
I thought we were going to have the new Pope come in and do an exorcism on you, lady. Like, calm down. It'll
What's on your mind, Kendall?
It'll be fine. No, so there is some breaking news, and that is that David Souter has died. And David Souter was a Supreme Court justice appointed by George W. Bush in 1990. He served until Obama was president, and then Sonia Sotomayor was put in his place. And David Souter is probably best known as a colossal disappointment to conservatives because he was appointed he had no federal judicial experience. He was I believe it was Delaware, New Hampshire, one of those. He was New Hampshire. He was a state Supreme Court justice who, based on his rulings in the state Supreme Court, was seen as a strict constructionist, a younger guy. He was 85 when he died, but he was in his early 50s, if not late 40s, when he was appointed to the Supreme Court. And he was seen as this super nice, kind of meek person in terms of his personality, but he had the judicial bona fides to be, he was Alito and Thomas without the drama, right?
Okay.
And he gets on the Supreme Court, and from almost the moment he got on the court, he became a turncoat, colossal disappointment. And the reality of it was they screwed up by picking a guy who had no federal judicial experience, and so you could only interpret his view of state statutes, and they messed up, and maybe he never was what they thought of anyway. But I mention this to you because the disappointment that conservatives felt for the 19, almost 20 years Souter was on the Supreme Court, it seems we go through this over and over and over again with not just justices, like Amy Coney Barrett in many ways, or John Roberts sort of became the new Souter. Not to the extent, I mean, Souter just outwardly became a leftist on many things. These Roberts and Coney Barrett are sort of all over the map, but it's like the unpredictability of these people, I mean, in the sense of appointed officials, elected officials, people who are inserted into positions of power, and the ability of them to not follow through on what you think they're going to be, or what in some cases the point of the politicians promise to be, it just never seems to stop. And I think David Souter is a great example of why people in many ways check out of the political process, because you invest all of this time to get these opportunities to put people into these positions.
And then you think they're going to get in there and they're going to execute some change, what they promised you when they were running or in the position. And then once they get there, it's a totally different story. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Well, that's what I was going to say, right? It's very similar to what we're going through with this state right now, and it will lead into the next segment we're about to do, where Braun is all in on tax increases now. I mean, with the, and it's not things, you can't blame the General Assembly on this one that he just came out in favor of. It's all him. All the power rests in him to do it or not do it. And it's what people are going through now, in the sense of, with Braun's unwillingness to do what he said he was going to do on the campaign, his unwillingness to stand and fight the General Assembly, and now with what we're about to talk about, straight up all in on raising your taxes and taking as much of your money as he possibly can. And people look at this and they go, if you try to hold these people accountable and they tell you these things and that's what you have to work off of, and then they just do the exact opposite, what do we do? And so I just thought, with the passing of David Souter, which literally had just been announced, it's sort of the same thing.
Say anything to get there, and then once they get there, it's a completely different direction.
Yeah, so anyway, I just thought that was a sort of a breaking news story, and I just want to really make you sweat, because, I mean, Casey's eyes were like, she was like a cartoon character.
Well, I have no idea sometimes what you're going to say. Where's he going?
We're going to do an impromptu segment. She said, yeah!
And then you're like, I'm not going to tell you what we're talking about either.
Be on the
template. Okay.
All right, we'll crap all over Braun when we come back. It'll be fun.
It's Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Stylin'. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ziprecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
Summer heat is coming. Will your air conditioner be ready? Don't risk an expensive breakdown. A quick tune-up from B&W catches problems early and keeps your family cool and comfortable. Join thousands of Hoosiers who trust B&W. Call 317-214-0108 or go to bplusw.com today.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
Hi, Jeff Roush for Tom Roush Lincoln. Right now, get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators, up to $8,000 off select 2024 Nautilus, or up to $7,000 off select 2024 Corsair at Tom Roush Lincoln in Fishers.
Navigator MSRP 105,575, Nautilus MSRP 6195, Corsair MSRP 47,820. Offers good through May 31st, 2025. Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
J&V from Ms. M's Home and Garden. The annual hanging basket sale is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. 20% off hanging baskets. State Road 135 in Bargersville.
For the biggest selection of Mother's Day gifts, shop Cynthia's Hallmark at 116th and Allisonville Road, 116th and Brook School Road, 96th and Lantern Road in Fishers, and in Greenfield.
In 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, a former Brownsburg daycare teacher facing child sex abuse charges is in court today. An ex-deputy in Marion County is arrested for stealing from Walmart. The state no longer participating in a summer program for kids, and porch parties are back this weekend around Indianapolis. You're listening to 93 WIBC. It's 10 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. A former Supreme Court justice has died. I'm Dave Anthony. David Souter, who served almost 2 decades on the Supreme Court, appointed in 1990 by President George H.W. Bush.
He was born in Massachusetts in 1939, a Rhodes Scholar, educated at Oxford University and Harvard Law School before serving as Attorney General of New Hampshire and becoming a judge in 1978. Souter was a Republican, but was a reliably liberal vote on abortion, church-state relations, freedom of expression, and the accessibility of federal courts. Former Justice David Souter was 85.
That's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. When he retired in 2009, President Obama chose Justice Sonia Sotomayor to replace Souter. President Trump keeps touting trade talks after pausing some of the tariffs he imposed last month. Writing on Truth Social this morning, there are many deals in the hopper. In another post, he hinted at easing what the U.S. is charging China for imports from 145% tariff now down to 80%, adding it's up to Scott B., a reference to
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer prep for talks with the Chinese trade negotiators in Switzerland this weekend. Consider those talks an opening salvo meant to bring down the tensions with China.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. The president has fired someone. Carla Hayden, the head of the Library of Congress.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says the president's firing of Hayden is, quote, the latest in his ongoing effort to ban books, whitewash American history, and turn back the clock. The conservative American Accountability Foundation is praising the move, calling Hayden a woke, and radical Librarian of Congress.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz. The day after American Robert Prevost was elected Pope, he celebrated his first Mass inside the Sistine Chapel, now known as Pope Leo XIV. He started his homily in English, then switched to Italian.
You have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission.
America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Appearing in court for the first time, it's sunny and 50 on Monument Circle. The high today, 68. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:02. The man who used to work at a daycare in Brownsburg and was arrested this week, charged with molesting and exploiting children, is appearing in court today. 22-year-old Gabriel Garner.
The families are feeling devastated, blindsided, angry, furious. What happened here is going to create scars on their children for life.
Attorney Catherine Michael speaking with Wish TV. On Thursday, the state shut down Main Street University for Kids, where Garner worked as a teacher. While speaking with our TV partner, Wish TV, Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears says an ex-deputy with the Marion County Sheriff's Office deserved to be fired after being caught stealing items on multiple occasions from a Walmart on Indy's east side.
If you see someone wearing that badge, that it means something, that there's a lot of integrity and value placed behind that. And if there's someone who's not living up to that standard, they're going to take swift and decisive action.
Timothy Bevo was fired last month. He's been charged with 3 counts of official misconduct and 6 counts of theft. The state says it will not participate in the federal Sunbucks program, missing the deadline for the initiative that provided grocery money for nearly 700,000 kids last year. The summer EBT program offered low-income families $120 per child to buy groceries over the summer. While free summer meals are still available at some sites, the loss of Sunbucks could affect some families in need across Indiana. Race fans can pick up free stuff Friday evening thanks to Porch Party. Terry Stacy reports.
You ready to decorate your porch for the Indy 500? Get a free Porch Party kit today at Advanced Auto Parts in Speedway.
Porch Party kits have a little bit of everything for the race fans. There's going to be a yard sign in there. There's some different stickers and decals. We're going to have some golden tickets included in some of those Porch Party kits out there for additional prizes. We're going to have an racing simulators from IMS. Going to be a really great event.
Ricky Berg says the party is from 6 to 8 tonight at Advanced Auto Parts in Speedway. Terry Stacy, WIBC Mobile News.
Practice currently underway from the world's greatest race course as IndyCar teams prepare for tomorrow's Sancio Grand Prix. Qualifying sessions from IMS are scheduled for this afternoon. Tomorrow's green flag scheduled for 4:30. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Kendall Casey back in 1 minute.
If you love spring and Indy but hate the paint, do what Lynn did. She called Rhino Shield.
It is a single-wide manufactured home. We moved from our home, which we had the Rhino Shield on. Rhino Shield was what we were going to do. That was no question. We knew we were going to do it.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating. It's not paint, it's better.
The Rhino Shield representative came, and we discussed what we wanted done. And this time, we had the roof done as well.
Now, you can have the 25-year guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Even the people that have been a little younger than us have said they don't have to worry about getting just an everyday painter because Rhino Shield has the 25-year warranty, and we truly believe in this product.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino!
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
This article about Mike Braun at, what was this? Was this the Munster Chamber of Commerce that he was at?
It was. He was having a fireside chat.
This is, oh my gosh. This guy is like, he somehow, this is amazing, Casey. I have never seen a guy that finds a way, just when you think his foot is fully engulfed inside of his mouth and down his throat. Braun, on an almost daily basis, finds a way to say, let me stick that thing a little deeper. The gag reflex hasn't completely kicked in yet.
He's shoving his other foot in there.
This is just unbelievable, this guy, and the things he is saying out loud. I mean, we have speculated that Braun may be suffering from some sort of mental decline due to elder abuse at this point. Like, we don't, I mean, looks very old, he looks very feeble, and he is saying and doing things that even a year ago, like, we don't know. Maybe Braun needs to undergo that same cognitive test we wanted to see Joe Biden take. Maybe Braun, because that is the only logical explanation for the 180 we are seeing from him. So yesterday, he went in front of the Munster Chamber of Commerce, which, by the way, he sees that on his like, what are we doing today? You got to go to the Munster Chamber of Commerce. Oh, great. I can't wait for that. And he straight up said, get ready, Bao. Tax increases are coming on the toll roads.
Yep, that's right. Well, he's going to seek federal approval for Indiana to charge tolls to us on interstate highways.
Okay, so let's reset this because, by the way, Casey, it is 10:07, May the 9th, 2025. I hate to do this because it is the least favorite part of every show.
Yeah.
Any show.
And that's when you're right.
And I've got to tell the audience about it. And I hate to have to do this, but 2 weeks ago, when the road funding bill was passed, we went on this very program, both you and I, sitting in these very seats, and we said, do not listen to a single word these people are telling you. In short order, you will have enhanced tolling in the state of Indiana. So what this bill did was it allowed, this is how pathetic and rotten our legislators are, because they don't want the smoke of actually taking votes to raise taxes. What they're doing now, and you're seeing, and we're about to talk about how they're doing it on a local level, but they're doing it here at a state level as well. They're abdicating their responsibility to make hard choices by giving away the authority. They're giving it away and passing it off to other people and saying, we don't have the ballular area to own the tax increases anymore, so we're going to give it to somebody else. The same way as during COVID, they gave away their responsibility to say, you have to wear a mask, you have to stand 6 feet away, your business has to close down. Why did they never do anything about it? Because they were fine with Holcomb taking the heat. And they are doing the same thing, thanks to this new road funding bill, with the tolling, where they have now given it to the governor and they have no say in it. Think about that. The General Assembly has no say over taxing authority on toll roads now. The governor, as long as he gets the consent of the federal government, can toll anything he wants, anywhere, anytime, any amount, and the General Assembly sits there with their thumb up their backside going, well, that sucks. Somebody should do something about that. Oh, wait, nobody can do anything about it because we gave the authority away.
So he made the announcement, and then he was asked a second time about it, and he said, probably will, yeah, we're going to do this.
So
his intent is to do this.
He was asked, he being Braun, yesterday about this. And by the way, when 2 weeks ago, and this is where our show comes in, 2 weeks ago, Pressel, I think, is the guy who was the author of this bill. They said, well, yeah, they can do the tolling, but we don't see that until being years in the future before any new tolling's going to be needed.
Years, 2 weeks, whatever.
2 weeks in, and Braun is at the Munster Chamber of Commerce and goes, oh, yeah, that's coming. I'm going to the federal government for the tolling increases.
And you know what his reasoning is? He said the need for tolling is due to fuel-efficient cars.
So let's bring this thing full circle, right? Let's go back at the time machine 8 years, where Braun voted for the largest tax increase in the history of the state. And at the time, and I know we've talked about this many times before, but this is an unforgivable sin that these people made, many of them still in the General Assembly, still doing the exact same behavior. those of us with an IQ above 8 raised our hands and said, well, first of all, you're the Republican Party. You're supposed to be the party of low taxes and limited government. Have y'all ever considered that INDOT is run like the mafia and maybe you should reform INDOT? Hey, by the way, why did nobody cover the fact that the INDOT commissioner, didn't he quit? Didn't he was there for like a month and quit? Did I misread that? Did I read that correctly?
No, you got it.
And where's the stories on that? How does that happen and just go away and nobody says a thing about it? How could a guy under a new governor roll in there and then a month later, see ya?
I'm out.
And that's not a bigger story. But Braun and these dumbass legislators against those of us with IQs above 8 raising our hands going, okay, first of all, you're the party of taxes, low taxes and limited government per your party platform. Largest tax increase in the history of the state. Doesn't sound like it's in line with being low taxes and limited government. But on top of that, idiots, you've got the federal government making this huge push, incentivizing people to buy electric cars, hybrids, whatever. You've got the car manufacturers themselves, again through force of the federal government, going to more fuel-efficient cars. If you were looking for a long-term road funding solution, taxing gas
may not be it.
Seems like the most idiotic thing you could possibly do. And they were like, Rob Kendall's a hate monger and he never wants to provide solutions and he just wants to object to everything. And here we are, 8 years later, with them admitting we were right, that didn't work, that the quote-unquote long-term funding solution is out of money, and their new thing, because they never reformed the system, it's always just take more money from you, is let's raise the taxes on tolls. Oh, but we don't want to do that because we don't want the heat, so we'll give it to the governor, but it'll be years off before this happens. And 2 weeks later, Braun says, yeah, I'm going to the federal government to raise the taxes on tolling.
Well, I think what we're missing here, it's not just raising the taxes on tolling, creating new tolls.
Well, you're right. We don't know what he's going to do. Is he going to expand the tax on existing tolling? Is he going to toll? Now, we said 2 weeks ago, and we'll see how accurate we are, I think there's definitely, within the next 10 years, going to be new tolling on 65 because of that's just Chicago. I think there's going to be so I think there'll be additional tolling, I guess I would say, on 65 because there's already 2 tolls on 65, one in the southernmost part of the state, one north as you're headed to Chicago. I think there'll be additional tolling on 65. I think there will be a toll on 70.
Well, and let me just read you this quote from the article. He did not identify any specific highways other than Interstate 70 where tolling might be appropriate.
Damn, am I good or am I? Because we said this very clear on this show, right? Like you can go back whatever day it was, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. All these shows run together now, but they're still up. They're still posted. You'll be able to find this where we specifically said Interstate 70, boy, howdy. We know this is why our show is so does so well in the ratings.
But you know what's interesting about this, Rob, is they're already saying that tolling on Indiana's interstates could generate up to $38.2 billion in new revenue between 2029 and 2050. They already know how much money they're going to make from tolling.
So what they say, 2029?
2029 to 2050.
So think about when just 2 weeks ago when this bill passed, they were selling it as it's years off. They already have run the numbers on 29, which means when they passed the thing, they knew 29 was the target. They didn't pull that out of their ass, Casey.
It's like you're spending the money before you even have it.
And that's the bigger story here. As bad as the tax increases are, it's the lying about everything. It's the lying about everything. They just say it. We're doing this. It's coming in 2029. We've worked in coordination with the governor. Here is what is going to happen to you. They deceive and they deflect and they double speak about everything.
So about the road and bridge improvements, Braun said everybody wants them. Nobody wants to pay for them. Asking for the ability to do it doesn't mean you're going to do it comprehensively. You do it selectively. Now, he's got to go get permission. And Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, has already said no to the dynamic pricing in New York. So there is the chance, little small baby chance, that they say no.
Okay, let's take a break because there's another road tax that people are being hit with. We talked about it yesterday in one community. Another community is now piling on. I had this conversation yesterday with somebody who works in state government who understands all of this stuff even better than I do. And he said the people can't even begin to comprehend the amount of tax increases the Republicans and Braun just passed this legislative session, and it will take a couple of years for it to fully hit everyone how much these people just grew government and just raised your taxes. Hey, you know what would be awesome is if someone in the government, a high-ranking person, would put out a video about this.
That would be cool, wouldn't it?
Somebody should do that. Do we know anyone who likes to put out videos? Yeah. I mean, this won't get this person on Fox News. It won't make them front and center at Indie Star. But this would be a really cool thing to put a video out and fight on, because that's like kind of what. Do we know anybody like that who likes to put out videos?
Let me think about it, okay?
Let's take a break.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
When you wake up,
you understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
When you work,
as long as the category was all Bruce Springsteen all the time.
I told you I think I could win a game of Jeopardy. I could not go on a run.
When you drive home,
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
Traffic when you need it.
Stopped on 465 again.
And updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
They told us nothing but lies.
These timeshare thieves out there are terrible.
They bullied us.
Our timeshare is all a scam.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
I was completely taken advantage of.
Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group, and I know the tough spot you're in. Are you asking yourself, why did I buy that timeshare? I'll tell you why, because that presentation wasn't a normal sales pitch. It was a show to convince you that timeshare is a great investment. They told you it was available today and today only. They said you're foolish if you don't buy, and unfortunately, you believed them. We get over 3,000 complaints a week from folks just like you that were misled into buying a timeshare. Give us a call. I guarantee you, if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-881-4242. 800-881-4242. 800-881-4242.
Hey, this is Denny Smith for LD Smith Plumbing. Lance Smith joins me right now. No, we're not related, but I'd be proud to call him my son, my uncle, my cousin, whatever. Lance, welcome to the studio.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, sump pumps, they're coming up. You guys, it's probably time to get your sump pump special. You brag on this every year.
Yep, it's a real deal. Free primary sump pump with the purchase of a battery backup system. Simple as that. No hidden labor fees or anything like that. 317-927-7186 or ldsmithplumbing.com.
Denny Smith for Sundown Gardens, where the annual hanging basket sale is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's right. It's 20% off hanging baskets this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Sundown Gardens, plus 30% off chocolates. Now, you know your mom loves flowers and chocolate. And the nursery's full of high-quality trees and shrubs. The greenhouse is overflowing with annuals, perennials, and more. Don't forget, the hanging basket sale this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday only. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com.
I'm sure everyone says this, but my mom really deserves the world. This year, I finally found a Mother's Day gift that comes close. She loves Helzberg, so I'm getting her these timeless gold earrings she can enjoy for years to come. They feel special enough to show how much I truly appreciate everything she does for me. And I mean everything. I even sent my dad a link to the Diamond Eternity band he'll be getting her, too.
Save up to 50% on Mother's Day gifts Mom will cherish forever. Visit Helzberg.com or a store near you.
This May, be a hero at the finish line. Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives reminds you to say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the BMV.
All right, So we got to talk about this other tax increase that's now going to start happening all over the state thanks to Braun and the Republicans. But first, I do have to do a couple announcements, Casey, if that's all right with you.
It's half your show.
Well, look, I need to let people know about the new approach to the program, right? Because we get new people coming in and out. And really over the...
Let me know about the new approach as
I think you're aware of this, right?
Is cool.
And by the way, I should point out, when I speak only for myself. Casey is a wonderful human being and should never be held to account for what I say and do on these radio programs. But
guilty by association.
The last really month has been very freeing for me because I felt as though for the past 9 or 10 months I had been working with some strings attached to me that were holding me back because I so wanted to get that property tax thing done for the people.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of times where you're looking at things going, I got to hold a coalition of people together to try to get this thing passed, even though you may not like or be able to stand the people that you're forced to interact with in some cases. And over the past month, since we all got lied to and screwed, those strings have been forever. And I mean, like they say in the Sandlot, forever released. And it has been very freeing the past 20 plus days to enter the new...
To let it rip?
To enter the new phase of existence of this show, which is we are basically now John Connor in The Terminator, right? Which is there ain't no getting along. There ain't no coming together. There ain't no supporting nobody. We think all of you people are equally scummy under the view of the taxpayer, and our goal is to take all of you out, to take all of you down. We ain't aligning up with nobody anymore. We can't trust any of you people, and we are donezo. We are done. D-U-N-Z-O, donezo.
Does this include future people?
That's right. Any people going forward. There are no endorsements. There is no support. If you do good things, we will talk about it. If you're running for public office against taking out people don't like, we will talk about it. But we are done because Micah and Braun were the end of it because they blew it. They blew all the trust. They blew all the ability to believe in anything. And so going forward, we are I'm trying to think of a way I can say this and not violate decency standards with the federal government. Our goal is to take down as many of you people as we possibly can. Everybody not named Andrew Ireland, Craig Haggard, and maybe Mike Young, you are on our it list, and we are taking you down and we are taking you out, and we are going to be as wildly entertaining as we possibly can in the process of doing that.
So the new approach is actually the old approach.
Yeah, but now I feel like here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
We can get a lot of this done now because with Holcomb, he admitted, I don't like you guys and I don't want anything to do with you, and I'm going to line up with the Democrats, and you're going to cost me votes, but I'm going to get them all back from the Democrats.
Right.
Braun and his peeps, they can't do that because they already said, we need you to succeed. They already said, they are so aligned with Donald Trump that they can't get, they're never going to get Democrats. I was just talking with somebody about this, and they said, do you think Braun is doing this stuff with the tax increases because he's trying to get in the good graces of the Democrats and the big government and the government expansion? And he said, it doesn't matter because he can't unattach himself from Trump.
Right.
And the Democrats will never vote for somebody or support somebody who is publicly aligned with Donald Trump. Braun's done.
To your point, even yesterday morning at 6:05 a.m., Governor Mike Braun's Twitter account posted something. It was in reference to the pandemic, and he says President Trump took the threat seriously, and then he goes on to mention what the point of the post is. And then you go down to the comments, and right away, one-termer, now talk about Indiana, go back to your office, you're already dead to most Hoosiers. It's just nonstop. The guy, even when he does try to reattach with Trump, people still aren't buying it.
Yeah. So if you thought it was bad, Braun, under Holcomb, if you thought if you thought what we were doing.
Well, he wasn't here. He was in
that's
D.C.,
right. They
so
don't know.
he doesn't know.
They don't know. And we dedicate at least one segment every day. There'll probably be many, but we dedicate at least, are going to do our best to dedicate one segment of every show for the next 3.5 years, or until maybe Braun will quit. Maybe he'll just have had enough.
I doubt it.
Well,
but you never know. He did, in a way, turn his back on his Senate seat.
Well, that's true.
He did quit that.
And then one other thing I wanted to say, and then we'll get to a break, and then we'll do the tax increases, because we need to talk about these other tax increases. Plus, we have to talk about how much money Rokita gave to Diego.
Yeah.
This is wild that is out. We do want to welcome Stephen Whitmer back to the Kendall and Casey universe. Stephen ran for State House. He was a longtime fan of our show.
In my district.
That's right. He got very mad at me for some reason. I don't know why.
Which is weird, because we were very complimentary towards him when he was running.
That's right. And
His door knockers, his door hangers were great.
And Stephen is back in the YouTube chat now, and so I don't know what we did to get back in his good graces, but we did want to welcome Stephen Whitmer back to the Kendall and Casey universe. And so anytime we bring people back into the fold, we want to say welcome back to you, because we're a big family here, Case.
Is that it?
We're a big family.
Okay.
He said, "I'm just passing through." Right. All right. We'll talk about the other tax increases when we come back.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's spring in Indianapolis, and the air is bright with birdsong and re-emerging life. But you can hear something else downtown, or rumbling along the banks of the White River. The greatest spectacle in racing is coming. For me and 400,000 annual pilgrims like me, that distant roar we hear brings a smile that lasts the whole month of May. This is Speed City. Welcome to May.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
You can be a hero at the finish line when you say yes to organ donation. I'm Jake Query, sports talk show host and auto racing announcer, and I hear so many stories about how organ donation saves lives. Like the 5 lives saved by race car driver Brian Clausen, who was an organ donor after he tragically passed away in a racing accident in 2016. You can be a hero when you say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the BMV. Learn more at driventosavelives.org.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A former Supreme Court justice is dead. It's sunny, 51 degrees on Monument Circle. The high today, 68. Clear skies this afternoon. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:30. A former Supreme Court justice has died.
A statement from the Supreme Court has confirmed the death of former Justice David Souter, who died peacefully at his home in New Hampshire on Thursday. Souter was appointed to the court by President George H.W. Bush in 1990 and served more than 19 years until his retirement in 2009. He was born in Massachusetts in 1939, a Rhodes Scholar, educated at Oxford University and Harvard Law school before serving as Attorney General of New Hampshire and becoming a judge in 1978.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers reporting. President Trump says he's open to Congress raising taxes on the rich in the budget plan he is hailing the Big Beautiful Bill that pushes for the Trump administration's agenda. Senate Majority Leader John Thune joining Fox and Friends to weigh in.
We don't want to raise taxes on anybody. I mean, we're about lowering taxes on Americans, but as the House, and they're the first mover on this, as they look at how to accomplish the president's Big Beautiful Bill, they've got to figure out how to wedge all the things the president wants to do.
Democrats argue the revenue and funding cuts will affect Medicaid, food stamps, and other government programs that millions of Americans rely on. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Here comes Halliburton. Hits the timeline with 7. Outside the arc with 5. In the lane at the goal. He lays it in. Milwaukee has no timeouts. They have to go the length. And this one is over. Unbelievable.
Your blue and gold have advanced to the Eastern Conference semifinals. Catch your Pacers as they collide with the Cavs Friday at 7:30. Get your tickets at Pacers.com/playoffs. Pacers playoffs presented by KeyBank, Kroger, and Starry.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
Join our B&W Premier Club for additional benefits and exclusive discounts.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, 317-214-0108, your American Standard Air dealer.
The Attorney General's office wants to put your money back in your pocket. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov and search for yourself, your loved ones, or your business. It's fast, easy, and free.
Mark Dito, the only real estate expert I trust, the only expert you should trust with the sale of your home. Andrew in downtown Noblesville recently retired, and the goal is to sell their home of 30 years, buy an RV, and spend summers traveling to Montana and winters in Arizona. I love it. Mark Dito's team made it happen fast, went under contract in 3 days, over asking price, no contingencies.
Mark Dito guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. That's right, he will buy it. You pick the move date, no long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. The Mark Dito guarantee is what separates him from everybody else. And you deserve that because you deserve to make the most money. 317-755-4232. Call Mark Dito today, 755-4232, or markdietel.com. Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
Is this right?
Is what right? Say more words, but be specific.
Pronouns, pal. Indy Reporter is reporting. At Indy_reporter is the account. They do all sorts of things on Indianapolis government and politics. They're like I think there's like 8 guys involved in it.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly who all the people are, but they
need to send us a note and tell us who's running things over
we'd
there.
We'd actually like to start promoting them, but we need to know who it is in order to do that on a regular. Because if it's a bunch of people that are on the run from the law or something,
that would not serve Hoosiers well.
Yeah, we got to know who these people are. But they do a lot of interesting reporting. And we had done that segment yesterday about how Rokita, the Attorney General, Todd Rokita, who's guy who runs his front desk, told us it was so concerned about Diego when we went over and dropped our list of questions off.
About Diego, the Secretary of State's trip to India.
Because we naively assumed that the Attorney General, who is the chief law enforcement officer of
the state of Indiana would also be concerned that the Secretary of State disappeared to India for 10 days, didn't tell anybody where he was going, and then it came out that a guy who has a giant contract with his office was there with him, and that same guy was bragging that he was selling EB-5 visa access in the same city that the Indy Star reported Diego met with the mayor. We thought, man, surely the chief law enforcement officer for the state of Indiana. Now, we knew that with Rokita, that would involve some actual work, so he probably would go kicking and screaming to it. But we thought, dude, like you would want to get to the bottom with all your investigative powers and authority.
But you would at least delegate it to somebody.
Right, because we know Rokita doesn't actually do any actual lawyering, right? But, and the guy, so when we dropped the questions off, the guy who was manning his front desk wasn't like, you guys get out of here, this is ridiculous. He said...
He knew we were coming. He loves seeing us.
Yeah, he's a fan of the show. And he also said, you guys need to go to the inspector general. It wasn't like he totally dismissed it. He was like, there's enough of what you're saying here. And we did, and I filed the complaint, and it's, I guess, being investigated. They said we received your stuff and whatever. But then it came out that Rokita not only apparently was doing nothing with the questions we had dropped off, he endorsed Diego's reelection.
He did. He certainly did. And then Diego said that he was proud to have the support and endorsement of his friend and colleague.
So isn't this
Attorney General Todd Rokita
a little concerning? First of all, that Rokita, who's supposed to be Billy Badass, I guess, unless it comes to transparency and government accountability. I guess then Rokita, he don't want any part of that smoke, right? If it comes to fighting transsexuals, he's all down for that. But if it comes to holding government officials accountable, no way, no how.
Well, it's because they're working on that project together. Rokita says that he has seen firsthand as they've been working together that, Diego has been working tirelessly for the people of Indiana.
I have talked to multiple county clerks.
So tired he had to take a 10-day trip to India.
So
I got to get out of here. I'm exhausted.
Rokita's big thing was him and Diego are working on stamping out illegals voting in the state of Indiana. And I asked the question yesterday. I said, okay, Rokita, well, you were Secretary of State. How many illegals voted when you were the Secretary of State? Are you alleging that under Connie Lawson that there were mass amounts of illegal immigrants voting in the state of, and they're all voting Republican apparently, by the way. So that's crazy that all these illegal immigrants are voting, I guess, for Trump and Rokita and all these other people. And then also Holly Sullivan. Who are these illegal immigrants that you and Diego have teamed up to root out? I talked to multiple county clerks yesterday, and one of them said like 12 years ago, we determined we had an illegal immigrant who had voted multiple times, and the issue was addressed. But other than that, they said, no, we're not aware of any illegals that are voting in the state of Indiana. If the Attorney General would like to name these people, or the Secretary of State would like to name these people, let us know. But in our county, we're not aware of any of these people. Please bring them to our attention so we can address the issue. But you've got Rokita, who theoretically could be investigating not just because Rokita investigates things all the time, even if they ain't in his purview. So he can't say like, that's not my job, right? You've got the 10-day trip to India that nobody knows who paid for it or how. You've got the allegations of pay for play, which are very serious, which is he gives these $1 million plus no bid contracts out to these companies.
Who just happened to donate to his campaign.
He being Diego Morales, by the way, that just happened to give huge amounts of money back to his campaign. You've got the spot bonuses to employees,
brother-in-law,
including the brother-in-law, the hiring of the brother-in-law. There's a litany of things. By the way,
the vehicle, the missing out on the budget hearing, and now you've got the release of his 26 reelection campaign that allegedly uses footage from an official visit to a restricted election facility in Marion County.
All of these things.
What?
But hey, look. If there's a transsexual somewhere, Rokita's going to stamp him out and make his life miserable. But investigating actual potential government corruption from a dude who is so incompetent and shady, Rokita fired him according to paperwork once. Let's not forget that. How would that not get mentioned every time we talk about Rokita and Diego? That he, according to state paperwork, fired this guy from his office for being a complete he being Rokita, fired Diego from his office.
But now he says that he's proud to endorse Diego Morales in his reelection for Indiana Secretary of State.
And we're supposed to believe what? That Rokita's going to get right on investigating these things that clearly have the attention of many people in the state of Indiana, involving what could be highly unethical, highly corrupt behavior from Diego.
Hey, not only is he going to endorse him with his words, Rob, he's going to endorse him with his wallet.
Because according to Indy Reporter, this Indy Reporter account, Rokita gave Diego $5,000. Is that right? Am I seeing that correct?
It looks like it. Is that what we've got going on here?
It says contribution.
Or is it the other way around?
Direct. No, I think it's, well, maybe it is. No, it says Todd Rokita Election Committee. That would be him giving the money. Whitmer, you're still in the chat. Can you tell us if we're reading that correctly? That according to this, that Rokita gave Diego $5,000. What's the date on this? The 23rd of December, 2024. I'll look this up during the break to confirm that. But either way, whether it's Rokita to Diego or Diego to Rokita or whatever, what, we're supposed to believe that that's going to be on the up and up, that Rokita's going to do any sort of investigation or looking into this guy or what? Why does no one care in the State House that the Secretary of State disappeared to a foreign country for 10 days? The only logical explanation at this, okay, Whitmer said correct, that Rokita gave the money. Whitmer is one of the Indy Reporter guys. That Rokita, according to him, Rokita gave Diego $5,000.
Yep.
The only logical, so now there's a financial tie between these campaigns, if that reporting is correct. The only logical explanation on this now is that there are many people in the State House. I do not believe that nobody knows who funded Diego's trip to India. I don't believe for a second that Houston and Bray and Braun and Rokita, I don't believe for a second that collectively none of these people know who funded Diego's trip to India. The only logical explanation that you can draw at this time, they know who it is, and the money that funded that trip, either directly or indirectly, either they're from those people and companies specifically or people affiliated with them, money from related people has also ended up in their campaign account.
Yeah, seems like it.
Because why else would you allow this guy to behave in the manner in which he does? Why would you allow him to pull this crap over and over again?
It's not even that he's allowing him to behave in the manner in which he does. He's supporting it.
Well, that's true.
Both vocally and financially.
Yeah, you're right. And it's amazing about what a supposed tough guy Todd Rokita is, except, I guess, when it comes to investigating and trying to root out
the guy down the hall,
trying to hold accountable potential government corruption and unethical behavior. And by the way, Todd, if you'd like to discuss this, no need to talk behind my back to people. Why don't you be a Billy Badass, waltz your ass in here, and let's have this conversation for everybody to hear. You can say all the things to me, to my face, that you say to people that work with me and around me. I know about all of it, Todd. You know. You can say all the things you say to your staff about me. They talk. Just say it for everybody to hear it. You're such a tough guy on the internet. You're such a tough guy with other radio hosts. I'm nothing. I'm 5'8". I'm 155 pounds. Why don't you just come in here and say it for everybody to hear?
I feel like I've just witnessed part of Rudy, the movie.
He's so afraid of me, and that is so pathetic because he's so fake tough with everybody else, except for people who he knows will clap back. He don't want any part of that smoke.
Okay, we've got Hammer who's going to join us. Are we going to talk about what's going on in Whiteland?
We'll save that for next hour. I'm sure Hammer has something incredibly entertaining for our audience that will no doubt far eclipse the Debbie Downer of Braun and the Republicans raising more people's taxes.
Right. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the deal between the U.S. and the U.K. Is that the deal for everybody? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like frames. Because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster, which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame, and if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Universal Windows Direct and their home improvement season sale. You know, the weather's starting to break. The temperatures are in the 70s. That means it's going to be getting hot, and you want to be sure that you can stay cool in your home all summer long. Enter Universal Windows Direct's home improvement season sale, where you can get 50% off your windows. Yeah, that's right, 50% off your windows, half off. Plus, on top of that, no interest and no payments for 12 months. And last, but certainly not least, a free entry door with your window purchase. So let me review. 50% off your windows, half off, no interest, no payments, 12 months, free entry door with your window purchase. Now, some restrictions may apply. So to get all the information, and more importantly, to schedule your totally free in-home estimate, call Universal Windows Direct today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574, or check them out on the web, universalwindowsdirect.com, universalwindowsdirect.com. Tell them Rob sent you. Hey guys, it's Rob for my friends at We Grow Hair Indy. You know the Indy 500 is coming up. Lots of hats out there. For me, I say, why wear a hat when I have hair, thanks to my friends at We Grow Hair Indy. Call my friends at We Grow Hair Indy for your free evaluation today at 317-522-2995. That's 317-522-2995. Or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com. That's WeGrowHairIndy.com to see how other people have been able to ditch their hats and get their confidence back with a brand new head of hair. Get your hairline back, whether it's multi-unit hair grafting or their Artist Robotic FUE. We Grow Hair Indy has every proven solution to restore your hair. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com right now to get a free evaluation. WeGrowHairIndy.com. Call today, 317-522-2995. That's 317-522-2995. And tell them Rob sent you.
Progressive knows there are some surprisingly expensive things in life, like frames, because you found a classic 70s concert poster. But when you went to get it framed, you realized the frame will cost about 4 times the amount of the poster, which is actually absurd because no one will be looking at the frame, and if they are, then you severely overestimated how cool this poster is. But then you remember by switching your home and auto to Progressive, you could save hundreds and put it towards a classic 70s concert poster in an absurdly overpriced frame. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Hi, it's T. Brian Hayes here from the Retirement Money Matters Show. This weekend is a very special weekend as it's Mother's Day weekend. So we are devoting this show to women and mothers everywhere. Unfortunately, women face many challenges when it comes to investing in retirement planning. These challenges that make financial literacy and advanced planning difficult are especially important. So join us this weekend as we provide some helpful tips to women and mothers because they certainly deserve it. The Retirement Money Matters Show airs this Saturday morning at 6 a.m. right here on WIBC.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Join our B&W Premier Club for additional benefits and exclusive discounts.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, B+W.com, your American Standard air dealer.
If you're pressed for time, the WIBC Mashup Podcast is your shortcut to the smartest, sharpest, and strangest moments on air. It's the best content from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Updated daily. Find the WIBC Mashup wherever you get your podcasts.
Casey, you had to work around your husband for years, didn't you? Were you guys in the same radio company, or was it competing?
No, we competed against each other.
So you never worked in the same building together?
Well, we did for a little while, but indirectly.
Sounds miserable to have to work with your spouse.
You think so?
Well, wouldn't you agree? It's Hammer.
Sounds miserable to have to work with Rob Kendall, to be honest.
Well, he was preparing me for this.
No, Hammer's here, by the way. Hammer, hello.
Hello.
you and Crystal never worked together, right?
No. We would kill each other.
I think you need
Not
to.
outside of the house.
I think you need to get as far away from your spouse as possible during the workday. See, this is why I love when people are always like, you should politics this, you should politics that. No, because I'm done at noon. I'm home at 12:30. One, if I stop and have my Arby's there before I come home. And then I got 4 hours where I ain't got to see or talk to anyone. It's just quiet.
There was a short time where Jim was working at the radio stations and I was at the television station, but it was only a few months.
But you were in the same building.
We were in the same building. We were in different, I was in the newsroom.
Right.
He was in the radio side.
Could you do the whole Morning Joe Mika thing and sit there? Like, because your better half has filled in on the air before. Like, how has that been?
Oh, it's been fun because we talk about the stories at night, line everything up. We're able to discuss it. And then when we come in, we're, on the same page.
But there's no
with things.
disdain of like, if I have to see you for another 5 minutes, then I'm going to throw something at you.
Well, you know what? There was, I believe, at the end of last year when Rob took like 3 weeks off in December.
That's right.
And the dude was filling in a lot of it. Like, there were a few moments like, okay, we've been together a lot.
Well, I bring this up because, like, Gabrielle was here. When did Ernest T. Bass get sentenced? Was that last week? Was it Ernest T.? Yeah, when Gabe Whitley, Indiana.
Oh, Fat Gabe.
Yeah, Ernest T. That's my name for him. He's Indiana's Ernest T. Bass from the Andy Griffith Show. She came with me to work that day because I'm very cheap, and I said, I'm not paying for your gas to drive downtown if I'm already driving downtown. You're coming. You can work in the back.
Right.
But she was here.
She wasn't here in the studio, though.
No, but she was here, and it was like, what's the Seinfeld? The worlds colliding, right?
Right.
Like, the worlds are colliding. My wife stayed out of my way. She wasn't, other than we had her come on and do the segment, which she didn't even want to do. But it was just like, you're here. You're in my universe,
world,
right? That would. I bring all this up because there is a report that has come out now. Many agencies have picked up on it that Bill Belichick's girlfriend has been banned from the
North Carolina football team.
Yeah, the
practices.
Showing up at things, right?
Right. She can't show up at practices anymore. She can't show up at the facility, I believe, to be around the team anymore.
Because she's such a nuisance and a distraction with everything he's doing. She was like on the field at practice and telling him things to do. And I think, you're 73 years old. You're one of the most famous football coaches of all time. You're stupid rich, and you're letting some 24-year-old woman boss you around. What a horrible way to go out.
So I feel like it's like looking into the future of the Rob Kendall relationship with Gabrielle, right? Because she's substantially younger than you are.
That's right.
And you're going to become a stodgety, old, rotten SOB too. So when that happens, are you just going to let her walk all over you? Because we're kind of hoping that happens.
But she's not even 24 now, and I ain't close to 73.
No, but you'll get there one day.
Yeah,
if you don't have a heart attack.
But she will be in her 50s when I'm 73. This woman is 24 when he is 7. There is 49 years difference, and you're Bill Belichick. How good could that be that you gotta take that from her?
Maybe this is just one of those wild whirlwind romance things where he's like, you know what, I'm just going to take this 24-year-old to Pleasure Town for as long as I can, and then eventually I'm going to kick her to the curb and settle down again. Maybe he's getting it out of his system, right?
He's having a moment right now.
Right.
So ESPN reported that one Belichick family member said there's a deep worry for how detrimental she can be, not just to his North Carolina career, but also his legacy and reputation.
Yeah, she's like Yoko Ono.
Right, because he's this known red ass, right? You know, surly, mean to the media, mean to everybody. Now all of a sudden you got a 24-year-old chick telling you what to say and what to do in your CBS interviews? That seems a little off-putting for Bill Belichick.
And isn't she allegedly made a whole bunch of monies?
Like $8 million
of some
from real estate. Yeah.
How does that happen? And isn't she... What is she? She's his business manager. There's some title that she actually has with him.
Have we heard from Belichick's son yet? Because he's a coach too. He was like his defensive coordinator. Remember? He had
Sling blade looking guy.
Had the mullet and was always like spitting, and like he is a chip off the old block.
No doubt who his dad is.
Totally is a chip off the old block. But he's football guy. He's close to Bill. Have we heard from him about any of this?
I don't know if he said anything, but I think it's interesting. He put out that new book, The Art of Winning. Lessons from My Life in Football.
Chapter 1, how to bang a 24-year-old when
He
you're 70 years
mentions
old.
her in the acknowledgments section.
We can talk about all the Super Bowls. We can talk about Tom Brady. But, guys, you want to win Chapter 1.
Yeah, like you and the coupon lady are perfect together. You are the real-life Peg and Al Bundy. Like, you guys just go together perfectly. You would never take this sort of crap from her, though, right?
No, and nor would she take it from me. Somebody would end up in the hospital.
What is coming up this afternoon?
It's Beer Sample Friday, man. We're going to have a good time. We got a couple different contests going on. We got Rob Thomas tickets. We got Qualls tickets. We got some barguments coming up later on. Let's have a day.
Thanks, Hammer. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable, but a simple breathing triangle solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple breathing triangle procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at AdventKnows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Rob Thomas. Live in concert. The All Night Days Tour. Rob Thomas performing for one incredible night. Everwise Amphitheater at White River State Park, Friday, August 22nd, with special guest, A Great Big World. Get tickets now at LiveNation.com. Rob Thomas, live in Indianapolis. For more, visit RobThomasMusic.com. Part of the Jack Daniels Concert Series.
Spring is here, and that means it's time for new flooring in your home. Brothers Floor Covering is ready to help. Brand new carpet, hardwoods, laminates, and luxury vinyl plank in stock now. Plus, Brothers Floor Covering can get your new flooring installed in as little as 2 weeks. Visit Brothers Floor Covering today at their new location, 8550 North Michigan Road. Discover why buying local means getting more, not paying more. Get the flooring of your dreams installed now. Go to brothers-floorcovering.com. That's brothers-floorcovering.com.
It's May in Indiana, and I'm betting the floors in your home would appreciate a good cleaning. Hi, this is Denny Smith, and there is no better go-to resource for cleaning those floors than Zero-Res. They can handle virtually every surface in your home. Carpets, tile and grout, hardwood, laminate, stone, upholstery, rugs, even your air ducts. Before we get any closer to summer, you can get 3 rooms Zero-Resified for just $129, and you can take $75 off air duct cleaning too. Zero-Res means zero residue, and it's the water they use. They don't need soap or solvents to really clean your surfaces. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, just healthy, fresh surfaces. Zero-Res cleans our floors, and I'll tell you that it is simply amazing, and it works. Don't take my word for it. Just check out 4,900 plus 5-star Google reviews. Call now, mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaning starting at just $129 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141, online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
This May, you can be a hero at the finish line. Say yes to organ donation and talk to your family about your decision. A message from Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recycler Studios, lawsuits against a former daycare worker linked to child sex abuse. A Kokomo man is acquitted in the murder of an 18-year-old from 2016. What some local religious leaders think about the new pope. And action at IMS today, plus Game 3 between the Pacers and the Cavs tonight in Indy. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Celebrating Pope Leo XIV.
I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The fact that he was born in the United States of America, boy, that's a sense of pride and gratitude for us.
Cardinal Timothy Dolan from New York at a gathering now in Rome with the other U.S. Cardinals, also acknowledging that Robert Prevost became a citizen of Peru, where he served for many years before becoming the new pope.
He's a citizen of the world. He reminds us that we all have our true citizenship in heaven.
Dolan also says Pope Leo will work to build bridges with President Trump. This morning, the new pope celebrated 2 masses.
God has called me by your election to succeed the Prince of the Apostles.
But before he spoke in Italian during the first mass inside the Sistine Chapel, the Pope said in English,
"And I know I can rely on each and every one of you to walk with me as we continue as a church."
Pope Leo XIV will have his installation mass May 18th. President Trump is hinting at toning down the trade war with China, posting on Truth Social this morning an 80% tariff seems right. The current charge on Chinese imports is 145%. The president added it's up to Scott B., referring to Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, who will lead U.S.-China trade talks this weekend in Switzerland. The president also posted,
China should open up its market to the USA, would be so good for them. Closed markets don't work anymore. The U.S. goods trade deficit with China was more than $295 billion last year.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Retired Supreme Court justice is being mourned.
A statement from the Supreme Court has confirmed the death of former Justice David Souter, who died peacefully at his home in New Hampshire on Thursday. Souter was appointed to the court by President George H.W. Bush in 1990 and served more than 19 years until his retirement in 2009. Souter was a Republican, but was a reliably liberal vote on abortion, church-state relations, freedom of expression.
And that's Fox's Tanya J. Powers. Souter was 85. America's listening to Fox News.
WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Families responding to the abuse. It's sunny, 53 degrees in downtown Indy. Plenty of sunshine expected for the rest of the afternoon as well. 72 the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Families say their kids were abused at a central Indiana daycare, and now they're suing. Ryan Hedrick has the story.
The families are feeling devastated, blindsided, furious.
Attorney Catherine Michaels speaking with Wish TV about the case of a former Brownsburg teacher who the cops say filmed sexually explicit material at Main Street University for kids.
What happened here is going to create scars on their children for life.
Police say they have hundreds of images on Gabriel Garner's phone that appear to show him sexually abusing the children. A 3-year-old and a 5-year-old were among the victims, say police. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A Kokomo man is acquitted of the murder of 18-year-old Karina McClurkin in 2016. Flint Vincent Farmer was found not guilty Thursday by a jury following 7 hours of deliberation over 2 days. Soon after the verdict was read, the Howard County Prosecutor's Office filed 7 felony obstruction of justice charges against Farmer. The charges say he gave false and misleading statements to investigators and instructed witnesses not to cooperate. The Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Indianapolis says the Cardinals selected a man of faith and a man of prayer in Robert Prevost.
Again, he is a very Christ-centered, as what we were expecting first and foremost in any pope, is to be very Christ-centered, to be a person of prayer, to be a person of hope, to be a person of firm belief.
That's Archbishop Charles Thompson. Prevost, now Pope Leo XIV, was introduced to the world as the new pope on Thursday. A quick practice session this morning for IndyCar teams ready to take on the IMS road course. Alex Palou is hoping to build upon his stellar start to the year.
Been amazing. I mean, best start I've had in my racing career so far. Even better than go-karting days. Super happy with the speed we had in the cars.
Qualifying sessions come up this afternoon. The Sancio Grand Prix is set for Saturday at 4:30. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
Come on, Indy. Don't use the spring to paint your house year after year. Do what Deanna did. She called Rhino Shield.
I was noticing some cracks and the paint's faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get my house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino Shield placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow. With the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
The ceramic coating of Rhino Shield is specifically formulated for our climate.
So the Rhino Shield crew came out. Nothing was damaged in the process. I was very happy. They just didn't leave a mess. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
Backed by a 25-year transferable warranty. And now get the protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price.
Rhino Shield, I think it increases the value and the curb appeal of your home. Definitely worth it.
Here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint.
Don't vinyl.
Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Wow.
Big news.
Braun and his little goon friends in the General Assembly straight up looked 7 million people in the eye and lied to them about this tolling.
And your reaction is, wow. It should be like, yeah, typical.
This is crazy. So earlier in the program, I think it was top of last hour, we talked about how Braun went to the Munster Chamber of Commerce and straight up said, I am going for the tolls.
Yeah, he's going to seek federal approval to toll Indiana's interstate highways. And he did say they're going to be specific. It's not comprehensive, but the article reported that they're looking at I-70 as one of them.
Okay, so I know we're resetting for people who listen linearly, listen to the whole show, but we have obviously, upwards of 50,000 people coming in and out of this program each day. So I want to just reset this for what we talked about, and then I'll get to the email we just got. So the state legislature in the quote-unquote road funding bill, because they're a bunch of gutless chickens, gave the governor, as part of this bill, unlimited tolling capacity, unlimited tolling power, and they don't have any say in it now. The governor, as long as the federal government signs off on whatever the governor's request is, the state, the governor, without any oversight from the General Assembly, can toll whatever he wants, wherever he wants, however much he wants.
Yeah, so tolling authority went from the General Assembly to Mike Braun.
Or
the governor.
But at the time, and we called bullcrap on this 2 weeks ago, they tried to say, well, we did that, but this is going to be years from now. Like, we don't anticipate this happening for several years. We just want to give the governor the ability to do this and act quickly. And we're like, oh, shut up. Like, you guys just lie about everything. You know exactly what you're going to toll. You know exactly what the plan is. And because you guys are total narcissists and complete sociopaths and total pathological liars, you are straight up lying to everybody about this. And I said on the air at the time, I guarantee 70 is going to be in the crosshairs on what they're targeting.
Yeah.
And then you had said, was it in this article?
It's in the article. The line is, he did not identify any specific highways other than Interstate 70 where tolling might be appropriate.
But there was something where there was already an estimate out, right?
Yeah, and this was coming from the Legislative Services Agency. They said that the tolling on the highways in Indiana could generate up to $38.2 billion in new revenue between 2029 and 2050.
So that's interesting. They had already set the target date. Why would you pick 2029? It's 2025. If you're years from now and nobody's even considering this, why did they pick 2029? That's a really weird year.
Well, Rob, it takes a minute to put in the tolling station.
Boy, sure it does. Doesn't it, Casey? Why wouldn't they have picked 27? Or 26. That's next year. So we got an email from someone who is really putting themselves out here. And I know this person. Casey knows this person. This is a verified human. They are a person who you can look them up on the internet. We have actually encountered this person before. And this person says, and they definitely work for INDOT, as an anonymous birdie inside INDOT, I can confirm I was asked to provide information about car and truck volumes on I-70 in support of application to the feds for tolling.
There you go.
That means they have been plotting and planning this toll application for, I'm sure, ever since Braun was elected, that they knew exactly why they wanted to give the governor the ability to do it without the General Assembly, and that everybody, Braun through his silence on it, and the legislature, from what they were saying, has lied to us about it.
So Braun has to go and ask the federal government, and he has to ask, I'm guessing maybe the transportation secretary, Sean Duffy, or does he go straight to Trump?
Well,
and say, hey, I want to do this. You cool with that? Thumbs up, right on.
But think about this. That's what Braun's going to burn political capital on, not things to help you, a thing to raise your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's going to burn his political capital on, is, please, Mr. Trump, take a sword from the people of my state to help me raise taxes. This email, and again, this guy, I'll take this to the bank that he's absolutely being honest. I know who this guy is. He's a very respected person, is saying as a part of NDOT, I was asked to do this.
Mm-hmm.
They've been planning to do this the entire time, and then they lied about it. They lied about the plan and how quick this was going to go. They knew when they passed this bill what they were targeting. And the biggest story out of this, as usual, we were 100% right. I know these people better than they know themselves. I knew exactly what they were planning on doing. And here come the tolls. Here come the tax increases. And they can't be transparent. They can't be honest about anything.
And keep in mind that Governor Braun is one of the guys who added 10 cents to your gas.
Well, and then what more than that, because it goes up every single year. What are we? We are 8 years. What are we? 18 cents a gallon. The Mike Braun tax increase, 18 cents a gallon on gas. Now, in fairness to Braun, when he ran for governor, he did say, I'm not touching that and I'm not doing anything with it.
Well, he called it a usage tax.
Right. Now, that's, of course, a lie, because you have to drive to work. You have to go to the grocery store. It's more of the predatory taxation. The Republicans are Kev. Can you find the Chris Hansen, Mike Braun interview? I think it's a good time to pull out the famed interview, the exclusive that we played a couple weeks ago on the Kendall and Casey show, in which noted and famed journalist Chris Hansen, the greatest predator catcher in the history of, if you put Hansen in, Kev, I'm sure it'll show up.
But one thing that I want to remind
Interviewed
you
Mike
of.
Braun. Go ahead.
So Mike Braun said that the money has not kept up with the need for the bridge and road improvements.
Yes.
But here's something else that we need to keep in mind. Indiana's gas tax, some of the funds are used for non-road portions.
That's right. It doesn't all have to go to roads.
Of federal highway projects.
That's correct.
Some of them go to safety initiatives.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. It goes to all.
So he's saying the money's not keeping up on the road maintenance. But not all the money's going to road maintenance.
Because remember when Holcomb did the tax on truckers, and this was way before you got here, but when he did the toll on truckers, a bunch of that money went to like trails and stuff. It didn't even go to roads. And so one other thing I wanted to touch on, as Kev is feverishly searching for that, and if you can't find it, I'll find it at the commercial break, is that the other day we talked about how, as part of the road funding bill, they are bribing, they being the state of Indiana, are bribing and strong-arming local governments into raising your taxes. And they have written the law in such a complicated fashion that the locals don't even know what the law says. But, of course, it gives you great insight into these locals. Because remember when the Senate Bill 1 passed, the property tax bill, they're like, there's no guarantee the locals are going to raise the income tax. You don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, they're going to max that lit out every single frickin' penny they can get out of it. Because unlike you, Mr. Washington, D.C., I've been around these people.
Mm-hmm.
I know how they operate. And now these local governments, because in the road funding bill, in order to get the community crossings grant, your local government has to enact both a wheel tax and an excise tax.
Mm-hmm.
And these local governments are saying, well, this language is very unclear whether we have to do it as the community or the county has to do it. So we're not even going to take the time to find out and make a phone call and ask.
Right.
We're just going to raise the tax, and then we'll figure it out later.
So Franklin approved a similar tax earlier in the week, and now you have the new Whiteland Town Council who approved this.
But think of it.
$40 wheel tax, $25 excise tax on vehicles.
We're supposed to believe these same people aren't going to max out their local income tax capacity, yet they're raising this wheel and excise tax without even picking up the frickin' phone and going to legislative services or the attorney general or whoever.
Right.
Hey, how do you interpret this law? Is it sufficient for the county to do it, or we have to do it? They're raising taxes without even knowing if they have to raise the tax, and yet we're led to believe by the governor they're not necessarily going to max out the income tax increases.
Okay, sure. So on April 9th, the Indiana Senate, they removed the language, and it prohibited overlapping, right?
Where that and overlapping means county and locals can't raise the same tax.
Right. So Franklin said, nope, we're moving ahead. And now you've got the new Whiteland Town Council saying, nope, we're moving ahead. Greenwood is the next on the list, although they have postponed their decision.
Oh, you mean they're making a phone call?
Pending further legal clarification. But heads up, it's on their radar. So now you have the wheel tax, you have the excise tax, you have the double gas tax, and now you're going to be told.
So,
just walk, I guess.
Kev has found a couple weeks ago, because Mike Braun is a financial predator. Mike Braun and his buddies in the Indiana General Assembly are financial predators. And what we mean by that is they tax things that you have to do in order to live your life.
Oh, like your house?
Your house, the gas, your car, these wheel taxes, things you can't avoid in order to live in decent society. And so we thought, well, we're clearly not getting through to the governor. So who's really good at catching and exposing predators? And we said, well, there's nobody better than friend of the show, Chris Hansen. And so it turns out we made a phone call, and Chris Hansen actually caught up with Governor Mike Braun.
I'm Chris Hansen, and this is an investigation called Hansen versus Predator. What is your plan here tonight?
We cannot accept rising property taxes as an unfortunate fact of life, or explore every avenue to reduce the burden on hardworking Hoosier families.
How would we do this?
I guarantee you that we're going to give it one good shot at getting that back in place where it needs to be.
This does not look very good for you.
We got a lot over the finish line in the last 2 to 3 days, which was basically late last week.
Let's see if any of this sounds familiar while you enjoy your pizza.
We can let government inefficiencies impede our success, or reshape government to sincerely serve the people. How about that?
Has that line ever worked for you before?
So I campaigned on this, made it the #1 issue.
You see how this looks.
In a state like Indiana, your veto means nothing other than symbolic, and there's no guarantee that you get anything out of it.
So if there's anything else you want people to know, anything you want to say, now would be a good time to say it.
Too many seniors and young families are getting priced out of their homes due to runaway property taxes. I heard it for 2 years on end.
How does this look? How does that look? If you were me, what would you think?
You can make that point. I respect it.
There's something you need to know, and that is I'm Chris Hansen. And this is an investigation called Hansen versus Predator.
I will be signing it, yes.
Government inefficiencies can't impede our success.
Can you say that again?
He said government inefficiencies can't impede our success.
Oh, man, I had so much fun putting that one together.
He's got his own answer.
They were
instead he'll choose to tax.
Every so often, I will actually talk to our bosses. They usually don't they're just like, leave him alone. Just let him go.
Right.
I'm like the Milton in Office Space.
Right.
Just a guy here in the building. But every so often, I saunter down there. And when I told them, I said, hey, I'm putting together a clip where Chris Hansen interviews Mike Braun. I thought Matt Hiblin's hair was going to catch on fire.
That made him a little nervous, didn't it? I don't know.
And then he was saying, he says, oh, that's really good. I said, yeah. What did you expect? All right.
Well, you never know. We've got a guest who's going to join us next.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to talk over you there. There is a group of people who are dedicating the next several months, because we have a whole bunch of these lawmakers who are up for re-election next year. almost close to 100 Republicans in the House and Senate are going to be up for re-election next year, and they are trying to find somebody to run against each of these people. One of the leaders of that group has an announcement of his own is going to join us next.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
This May, you've got a chance to see what an IndyCar driver's dream garage really looks like. WIBC's Tales from the Track, presented by Relay Indiana, takes you inside Graham Ray Hall Performance, a high-octane hangout where racing meets luxury. Hammer and Nigel sit down with Graham for great stories, laughs, and insights from someone who grew up on the hallowed grounds of the IMS. But this backstage pass to speed, style, and surprises is sold out. The only place to register to win tickets is WIBC.com.
You're listening to 93 WIBC. I'm Matt Bear. I'm excited to have a special guest joining us, Jeff Jr., the founder and CEO of Trajan Wealth.
What's up, Matt?
I hear your connection to Indiana runs pretty deep. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. My wife used to live in Indiana, and my father and mother-in-law, they actually live in Kokomo, and my brother-in-law, he lives in Franklin. With so much family here, it was only natural to bring Trajan Wealth to greater Indiana and help all the Hoosiers plan for a better financial future.
I also know you and your wife served our country in the Marine Corps. Would you say the Marine Corps helped with the financial business you were in?
Unequivocally, yes. I completely credit the Marine Corps with most all of the intangible qualities, such as leadership, attitude, willingness to learn.
Trajan Wealth is a family-run, veteran-owned financial fiduciary. Call them today, 317-480-4040, 317-480-4040.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Paid advertisement.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
They told us nothing but lies.
These timeshare thieves out there are terrible.
They bullied us.
Our timeshare is all a scam.
They stole from us. They were thieves.
I was completely taken advantage of.
Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, founder and CEO of Wesley Financial Group, and I know the tough spot you're in. Are you asking yourself, why did I buy that timeshare? I'll tell you why, because that presentation wasn't a normal sales pitch. It was a show to convince you that timeshare is a great investment. They told you it was available today and today only. They said you're foolish if you don't buy, and unfortunately, you believed them. We get over 3,000 complaints a week from folks just like you that were misled into buying a timeshare. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we will cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-881-4242. 800-881-4242. 800-881-4242.
You ready to build your custom dream home? Check out Joyner Homes, based out of Greenfield. See one of their model homes in person anytime. It is a great way for you to experience the customization and quality of a Joyner Homes custom-built home. Plus, you can meet with a new home specialist to learn about their building process. Available lots if you don't already have one. Find out about floor plans and where they build. Model homes are open 7 days a week from noon to 5, and walk-ins are welcome. Find out more at joynerhomes.com.
This May, be a hero at the finish line. Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives reminds you to say yes to organ donation the next time you're at the BMV.
Splendid isolation. I don't need no one.
Casey, you may have heard there are some people who are really pissed off at the governor and the Republican legislature.
What are you talking about, Rob? This is new. What?
It's going very well. Everything is very happy. What with the property tax increases, the income tax increases, the wheel tax increases, the tolling increases now that we've determined are about
Everything's
to happen.
fine.
Everything's going well. And
fine.
one of the things we've said is we will see next year, because there are a whole bunch of these, obviously, all the House members and half of the senators are up for re-election. And we'll see how angry the people are based on who steps up, who runs, who challenges. Because if you don't do that, if somebody doesn't, they're going to get a free pass and they're going to get right back in and do the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a group out there that is dedicating themselves to finding people to challenge these Republicans across the state of Indiana. And they are known as the War Elephants.
Oh.
How about that?
Yeah.
That's what they did there. One of the leaders of the War Elephants joins us now. His name is Richard Bagsby. Richard, hello.
Hey, how's it going, Rob and Casey? And appreciate you having me on the show.
All right, so you've got a big announcement. Before we get to that, tell us about the War Elephants, because I love this. You guys are dedicated to challenging incumbent Republicans. You guys have got merch, you got gear, you got everything. Tell us.
Well, It's more than about the merch and the gear. It's really about the origin story. I do want to say this, first of all. We are not anti-establishment. I'm not anti-establishment. I'm anti-establishment leadership, if that makes sense. Because I believe that the rank and file, a lot of the rank and file, they want to do the right thing, but I believe that they are choked up and hindered by some in leadership. And so our mission started back when I ran in House District 41. And basically, there were leadership in my county and in the state that thought it would be fair, let's just say fair, to restrict my access to their system when I was in an open seat. And so they didn't give me access to the I-360, but they gave the other two guys access to the I-360.
Okay, hang on. Let me explain that for a second. So when you run, the party has special information to tell you who's most likely to vote. You can put it on your phone, and so then you know whose doors to knock on and who to make phone calls to, correct?
Correct. In a light term, yes, it's a very serious piece of software that they have.
Yeah, and they didn't like you, so they gave this information to two other people who are running, and they said, you can't have it because you'll be a troublemaker.
Correct. And it wasn't, yes, to put it lightly, yes. And you know, I wasn't the typical, oh, that's racist and all this and that. I just chalked it up as, you know what, they used what was at their disposal. And so that's when I realized that we have to have our own system. And so I created my own system. And in that race, there was an individual they gave nearly $450,000 to, and make a long story short, he beat me by 100 votes. And so our system works. And yes, we want to challenge the status quo, not just challenge the status quo, but overthrow the status quo. And, you know, for clarity, I'm not really even upset with the governor as much as most people may be upset. My frustration and me being upset is towards some of the cowardly legislators that's been in office for a long time, you know, and they could have done a lot to help spur a good SB1, a good property tax reform bill. But I don't think they were interested in being the governor's ally in this. Now, yeah, the governor could have done this or that, but really at the end of the day, who's been in office for the last 15 years or 20 years or some of them, you know, over 20 years, right?
Richard Bagsby
is
our guest. He is a part of the group The War Elephants. They're finding individuals across the state of Indiana to challenge incumbents next year, 2026, House Republicans, Senate Republicans. All right, so you have a big announcement. You're putting your money where your mouth is. You're going to be one of these people. Tell us about it.
So here in District 22, I have a big campaign event popping up later on this evening at 5:30. I will be challenging long-term incumbent Ron Alting. He's been in for 27 years. He's come out as a pro-choice Republican, if that makes sense. He supported bills that would put men in women's restrooms, supported bills that would put men in women's sports. He was one of the supporters back in the COVID-19 era, giving employers the ability to force vaccinate their employees. And so these are the people, and I have nothing disparaging to say about him personally or anything like that. I judge a politician by his voting record. And according to a lot of their voting record, there are not Republicans in good standing, according to the Republican platform and the conservative platform. And so here we are.
And that's Lafayette. That's the Delphi area. That's in District 22. Yep. Yeah, Casey, go ahead.
Yep.
Richard, it was the COVID era that was the catalyst for you deciding to run. Is that correct?
Yeah, I call it my John Wick moment. Not in a violent way, though, but the John Wick moment. So my wife and I, we have 8 children. 2 of them had a speech impediment back in the COVID era, and they're not children that are prone to being in trouble, but they were coming home saying that they got in trouble, and we questioned them why, and they said, well, we had to take our mask off a little bit so that our friends could understand what we're saying. I said, wow, that's a weird thing. So I went to the school board and asked the school board for an exemption. Hey, you know, they have a speech impediment. They're getting frustrated. No one can understand what they're saying. They can't read the lips of the teachers. Is there something that you can do, like an exemption? And they got frustrated with me and said, this is not our problem. You have to take it up with the state. And so I've been taking it up with the state ever since.
All right. So we need more people like this. We've got to challenge there's over 100, well, close to 100 between the House and the Senate. Republicans up for re-election next year. Every single one of these people needs a challenger. The War Elephants, I think, is a great way to help facilitate this. If people want to learn more about you, your group, what you guys are doing, how they can get involved and do this or support candidates, what do they do?
I'm not too hard to find. I always tell people, just get on Facebook, type Richard Bagsby for Indiana. You'll get to my Facebook page. We do have a website. It's very much updated. We just haven't activated it yet because we're waiting until after the campaign kickoff. And I do want to give your viewers, those who want to be candidates, words of advice. What you're facing is an opposition that has a lot of money, a lot of influence. So I don't want you to be discouraged, but I do want you to have an understanding that this is more of a military operation, whereas you have to be strategic. We've already knocked 67 precinct committeemen doors in a primary. Why would we do that? Well, simple. If we are a threat, a true threat, then they can't send it to caucus, and if they do, then it'll be very risky for them, because we're already in the ears of the precinct committeemen. Back in 41, I had 3.5 months to prepare. Now I had 14 months in this race. So we'll see what happens.
All right,
I
brother.
just want you to know that you have to be serious about it if you're going to do it.
All right, very good. Well, keep us up to date, and we hope we find a lot of people to run because a lot of people need to go. Richard Bagsby, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Families suing over child sex abuse. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. By now, you've probably heard about Gabriel Garner, the former daycare worker at Main Street University for Kids, charged with molestation and exploitation. Attorney Catherine Michael says police have strong evidence against him.
They have geo-located at least 130 of those pictures to that daycare center.
Michael tells Wish TV she's representing the victims' families who say the daycare should have reported the suspected abuse to state officials instead of keeping it quiet. A Kokomo man is acquitted of the murder of 18-year-old Karina McClurkin in 2016. Flint Vincent Farmer was found not guilty Thursday, but now the Howard County Prosecutor's Office has filed 7 felony obstruction of justice charges against him, saying he gave false and misleading statements to investigators. And the Pacers and the Cavs tip off at 7:30 from Gainbridge Fieldhouse for Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Here comes Halliburton. Hits the timeline with 7. Outside the arc with 5. In the lane at the goal. He lays it in. Milwaukee has no timeouts. They have to go the length. And this one is over. Unbelievable.
Your blue and gold have advanced to the Eastern Conference semifinals. Catch your Pacers as they collide with the Cavs Friday at 7:30. Get your tickets at Pacers.com/playoffs. Pacers Playoffs presented by KeyBank, Kroger, and Starry.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. That's 800-659-7540.
Spring showers might bring flowers, but they can also bring roof leaks. Strong winds, heavy rain can expose hidden damage, leading to costly water issues inside your home. And the longer you wait, the worse it gets. Water can seep into your attic, walls, and insulation, causing mold, rot, and expensive structural damage. The good news? Moss Roofing. They offer free inspections. Whether it's a small leak or a big roofing concern, their expert team will assess the damage and provide reliable, cost-effective solutions. With over 35 years of experience, Moss Roofing knows how to protect your home from the unpredictable spring weather. Don't wait for a minor drip to turn into a major repair. For top-notch roofing services, trust Moss Roofing to keep you dry this spring. For a job done right every single time, visit mossroofing.com. Call 317-747-3665. 317-747-3665 or go online to Moss Roofing. M-O-S-S. mossroofing.com. Tell them Tony Katz sent you.
Hey guys, Mother's Day is Sunday, 2 days away. And while there are many great things you can do, and we would love for you to do for your mom, one of those is take her to church. And if you're going to do that, Life Church would love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your mother. And while we honor moms every day, you can join Life Church on Mother's Day, where there'll be special elements at each Life Church location to make sure your mom or mother figure feels celebrated and special. Life Church makes it easy for you. Campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton. Great online services. Learn more about everything and take mom on the web, lifechurchin.com.
Spring is here, and Dammons is full speed ahead with endless plant production of perennials, annuals, hanging baskets, roses, and planters. Trucks are arriving with fresh trees and shrubs. Dammons' friendly staff is ready to assist you and get you the help you need. So for any of your gardening needs, experience Dammons South on Emerson Avenue and Dammons West on Rockville Road.
Dammons Lawn and Garden, Indiana's most complete garden center.
You can be a hero at the finish line when you say yes to organ donation. I'm Jake Query, sports radio talk show host and racing announcer. And race fans regularly share their stories with me about how organ donation saves lives. Like the life of Danny, a race fan, husband, father, and grandfather who received a kidney transplant that saved his life in 2024. Be a hero at the finish line when you say yes to organ donation. Learn more at driventosavelives.org.
The most important advice I can give to someone regarding their heating and air conditioning system is for them to change their filters.
And get regular maintenance from B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
The Attorney General's Unclaimed Property Division has over $800 million just waiting to be claimed. Text Tony Katz to 46220 or visit indianaunclaimed.gov to claim yours today.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
You know who was really probably bummed yesterday about Pope Leo XIV's election? Joe Biden.
Why?
Well, he was on The View yesterday, and this was supposed to be, his big re-entry back into public life, and it totally got overshadowed.
Now, he's doing this because he wants money for his library. Is that why he's shown his face back out in decent society?
He wants money to live.
Oh.
That's according to some other people.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly there are these books that are coming out about him. And, of course, everybody knows that the media knew Biden had lost his marbles before he even ran for president again. And they were completely complicit in covering it up and hiding it and promoting him and all that other stuff. Now there's money to be made about it.
Yeah.
So they're gonna tell that story now because they can make casherino, and they know that's coming.
Did I read that Her is releasing the audio from his interview?
Somebody had said
with
that.
Biden. Is that true?
What good does that do us now?
Yeah, right.
Like you had a person suffering from some mental affliction, Alzheimer's, sundowners, whatever it might have been, running our country, and the media in coordination with the Democrat Party in his office covered that up. Everybody knew it. It wasn't like it was something you had to go digging on. The man couldn't even walk off a stage. He talked to dead people. He would forget people's names. Like all of these things. It wasn't like it was something, maybe. Everybody knew. And then remember when he gave the State of the Union and he was like a man on speed? And he was like yelling and shouting and sprinting through the
Well, because they were trying to get the meds right.
This was not.
And then as it went on, he got more quiet and stuttered.
Ran out of steam.
Tired.
It's like me on this radio show.
They were wearing off. So when he was on The View, he maintained that he would have beaten Trump had he stayed in the race.
So Tony was playing part of these clips yesterday, and it is fascinating that, like on our show, we hold everyone, as I think we have proven the past month, we hold everyone to account because our relationship is built on you, the audience, trusting us that no matter what, we don't pick favorites because you are our favorite. And as our favorite, we have an obligation to you to present you the truth, whether we like these people personally or not. And we've earned a lot of respect the past month calling out people like Micah. And people say, well, boy, they weren't bullcrapping when they said that. They will hold anybody to account. But you look at these women on The View, and it's like, how pathetic.
They're cheerleaders.
That even after this guy is gone, you still feel some bizarre need to defend or cheerlead or prop this guy up. Or like, do you need him that bad as a guest? Or people clamoring? Did the ratings spike that much?
Who called who in that scenario?
Yeah, like it's a very weird thing.
We really want to be on, please.
Very weird
like,
thing.
we need you. We must have this content. He said that he did accept some blame for the election outcome. He said, I do, because look, I was in charge and he won, so I take responsibility. But this is something interesting. Do you know who Mark Halperin is?
Yes, he's an author. He's a commentator. With NBC, I think he's affiliated with. Yes, he's been around forever.
So, most former presidents, they go on to more lucrative post-presidencies, right?
That's correct.
They get the big book deals, the big speaking engagements.
Right.
And they go on and they make lots of money. For example, Barack Obama. But Mark Halperin is saying that the opposite is true for the Bidens and that the Bidens are broke.
Biden Inc. has collapsed. All those Biden grandkids had a lavish lifestyle, which they very much liked. Hunter made hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. Joe, as a former president, is not in a position to get the same kind of paid speeches, corporate boards, book deal. Biden Inc. needs a source of revenue. And Hunter does, even though he was pardoned and he's not going to prison, Hunter does not have great earning capacity. And you look at the rest of the family.
Wait. The paintings aren't worth a lot?
No, the paintings are not worth a lot. So what I'm positing for you guys to weigh in on, Dan first, is my source right? Is what at least part of this is about, is the reality that Biden Inc., the trough is empty, the spigot has shut down. They need a way to get back in the game to make big money, to have the grandchildren fed and clothed and flown first class, etc.
If they would have just stopped in 2019.
Well, you're right. So this is what's fascinating, is the Clintons went through this after Hillary was no longer useful. So you think about the Clinton timeline where the Clintons were making all that money through the foundation. She was still actively engaged as a Secretary of State, as a U.S. Senator, as a presidential candidate. They knew she was coming back again. So these foreign countries, these foreign leaders, these investment people, they kept propping up that Clinton Foundation because they knew she may be useful. She is useful to us, so we got to keep Bill up. Well, remember, as soon as she lost to Trump in 2016, that foundation shuttered.
Yeah.
And remember, this was always what I found interesting at that convention in 2016. You've had this foundation. Clinton has been out of office 15 years. You've had this foundation that supposedly helped all of these people across the globe. How are none of these people showcased in prime time at that convention? Look at these people that this foundation, these children, you didn't see any of that.
Good point.
Right?
Yeah.
That was always what stood out to me. So they were able to keep the gravy train going because of the access that she had. Obama, I think in part because people really did view Michelle Obama at one point, I don't think they do anymore, as a potential person who could hold the presidency, but also because of the cultural climate where he had cultivated all these relationships through media, and he's so cool and he's blah, blah, blah. He'd been able to make money. Look at Bush. He didn't really do any of that because he didn't want to, and his father had made $1 gajillion and they were already rich anyway. And you're right. It's pay for access. And Biden offers them nothing in terms of access because he's a pariah and he can't speak and he doesn't know his name.
Well, he could have been an elder statesman and he could have used his connection to grift for just a few more years, but that wasn't good enough. Jill had to be the first lady. They wanted the brass ring. Had they just stopped while they were ahead, they would not be in this position.
And he admitted, because he doesn't know his head from his ass, what he did. He admitted how he used his position as vice president to strong-arm that prosecutor in the Ukraine to do what he wanted. He said it. It's not open to interpretation. It's on film. Yeah. And again, guys like Halpern and the mainstream national media covered all of this up. They worked in cahoots with the social media to squash the stories. They worked in cahoots with the federal government, with the Democrat Party. They knew exactly what Biden was, a dirty old delusional man. And let's not, don't let the fact that Biden lost his marbles hide the fact that this guy was dirty and corrupt for decades.
Yeah.
That family was all about the grift. The Bidens, as weird as this sounds to say, were way more corrupt than the Clintons. They were way more dirty. They may have not killed as many people, but they were way more dirty and way more corrupt. And these shame on all of these people who were a part of this, now acting like they're really going to get to the bottom of it and investigate what was going on.
Did you see that The Who has announced after 60 years they're finally donezo?
They're still alive?
Yeah, still alive. Still
so wait. When you say The Who, you mean the front guy and the guitar player, Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey.
Roger Daltrey, Pete Townsend.
Okay, so that's not because
they're turning 80 this month, by the way.
That ain't The Who, right? The drummer. What was the guy's name that died?
Keith Moon.
Moon, right? The Who. It's like at least Led Zeppelin did it the right way. Led Zeppelin, Robert Plant, and Jimmy Page, when John Bonham died, said he was the heart of Led Zeppelin. We will no longer be Led Zeppelin. And when they toured, because they didn't like John Paul Jones anyway, they toured as Page and Plant, and they said, we will not play Stairway to Heaven as the tribute to John Bonham. So if you are coming to see us, you are coming to see Robert Page and Jimmy Plant doing some Led Zeppelin songs. Like, I always thought that was very fitting and very fair. These guys have been pretending to be The Who without Keith Moon for what, 50 freaking years here? You ain't The Who.
Well, it's interesting you say that because this is not their first farewell tour. They did one in 1982.
In 1982? I wasn't even born. I was -2.
They were doing their first farewell tour. This one is called the North American Farewell Tour.
Oh.
The closest they're coming to us is they're going to be at Chicago, I believe the United Center.
You should go and tell me how it sounds.
Should I?
Yeah.
Should I pay for tickets and go? Pre-sale goes on sale May 13th.
Take Kevin with you. He's an events person.
What do we have coming up? What's going on?
So our news guy, what's his name? What's the news guy's name?
Jarrett.
Lewis.
Is
that right? Jarrett Lewis?
Yeah, that's right. Jarrett Lewis.
Okay.
We met him last week.
Yeah.
It turns out he's an incredible impressionist. And he can do a spot-on Robert F. Kennedy Jr. impression.
We're going to put him to the test?
We're going to put him on the spot. The news people posted this on the internet. And I said, I want to see if this guy can do this on demand. It's amazing.
He'll join us next on 93 WIBC.
Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. Who are they? Well, they're a sister company of Rhino Shield, and Premier Deck Coating is the product you need if you're tired of applying the same old stain and paint every couple of years to your deck. It's Terry, Stacy, and David and I have a deck that's probably 25 years old. The countless hours and the money that we spend on maintaining that deck never ends. And then we heard about Premier Deck Coating. Family-owned, based right here in Indy, and they are going to completely transform our deck with their special formulated product, which repels moisture, scratch-resistant in virtually any color that we want, and backed by a 10-year guarantee. No more spending time staining or painting every year. Premier Deck Coating will keep our deck looking great for years to come. Premier Deck Coating can also do fences and pergolas, too. For a free quote, call 317-696-4600. 888-4071 or visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Last-minute Mother's Day shoppers, all 4 Cynthia's Hallmark locations have plenty of budget-friendly ideas that make it easy. Graduation gifts, too. Ronaldo Jewelry in Greenfield is the perfect gift for either celebration. Every piece of Ronaldo jewelry is thoughtfully designed to tell a story, a beautiful personal gift. Cynthia's has a huge selection of Yeti products, and Mom will love the new ultramarine violet color. Be sure to take advantage of Cynthia's tote sale featuring huge 17 by 16 quilted totes in beautiful spring colors, just $9.98, and 20% off everything you can fit inside. Some exclusions apply. Lemon Lavender is one of Cynthia's best-selling product lines, full of the perfect spa day products to pamper Mom. And while you're there, pick up your ornament dream book and get details of the special pre-order promotion starting May 12th. Happy Mother's Day from locally owned Cynthia's Hallmark, 116th and Allisonville Road, 116th and Brook School Road, 96th and Lantern Road, and in Greenfield.
You know that feeling of a fresh, clean home? This is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and I want you to think about everything that's always left behind in and on your floors. Dirt and dust, allergens, pet dander, maybe even some mystery stains. Well, it's time to get Zero Resified. Zero Res can clean virtually any surface in your home, and for a limited time, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at just $129 and take $75 off air duct cleaning. That's real savings on a deep clean. And remember, Zero Res's patented ZR water cleans with no soaps, no residue, no harsh chemicals. It's clean, safe, and effective. Don't risk it with the other guys, and don't do it yourself with your carpet cleaning. It will end up soaked for days and actually do more damage than good. Keep the mud outside and not under your carpets. Just call Zero Res and mention WIBC to get 3 rooms cleaned starting at just $129 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141, ZeroResIndy.com.
J&V here from Miss M's Home and Garden. The annual 20% off hanging basket sale is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at Miss M's Home and Garden. While there, check out the nursery full of high-quality trees and shrubs and the greenhouse overflowing with annuals, perennials, and more. The garden shop also has all the seasonal decor you need. Don't forget the hanging basket sale, Friday through Sunday only. 20% off all hanging baskets. Miss M's is located on State Road 135, south of Whiteland Road in Bargersville.
Guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit the TRT experts at the Low T Center for a free consultation and a free test. Treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurances accept it. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment right now at the Low T Center. Offer is limited, but book right now. FixMyLowT.com. That's FixMyLowT.com.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indie Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of our best stamped concrete patio. Hurry, offer ends June 30th. Go to IndieDecorativeConcrete.com.
I gave it a shot, and I came in and had the procedure done. To me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago.
The financial advisor industry is a flawed system. Find out how to fight back and protect your retirement on Expedition Retirement. Sunday mornings at 7 on WIBC.
You support them. Who supports you? Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide insight, encouragement, and resources to help you navigate a loved one's recovery on the Supporting Sobriety podcast. Listen and get support wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, jeez. So, the other day, the new news guy, Jarrett Lewis, made a very good career move. He chose to come in and ingratiate himself to us.
Yeah. Smart
And
on his part.
We told him once he did that, because we had said, look, we are not going to go say hi to the new news guy because we were here first. We are the show. He's on the show. The best thing for his career would be to come ingratiate himself to us. He did, and we said, this will now elevate your career because we will incorporate you into our show.
Correct.
We are number one. We have 50,000 listeners every day.
Can only help you.
Women will just be removing their underwear and throwing them in your general direction if you're featured on this program. So Jarrett joins us now. We pay it forward. We follow through. And Jarrett, hello. How are you?
I'm great, Rob.
I saw something on the internet with you today. And I know that sounds suspicious, but it's actually good. Your colleagues showed this to me in the newsroom. You are an impressionist.
Well, here and there.
I mean, it's phenomenal.
We might throw some, yeah.
He can do, like, randomly on-the-spot impressions,
Mm-hmm.
and you do a Robert F. Kennedy Jr. that is, like, fantastic.
I started working on it actually down in Houston.
Really? So you've been at this for a while?
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
So.
You know, I met Robert F. Kennedy.
Oh, yeah.
Jr.
She dug her, it was like a dime store novel photo.
So
She dug
really
her
be able
nails
to
into
tell
his
how
chest.
good this impression is.
Okay, so we wanted to ask you, because Mother's Day is Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to ask Robert F. Kennedy Jr. actually, because people are trying to figure out where they should take their mom to eat. And I know you're he's big on the health kick. Where should somebody take their mother on Mother's Day to eat to get a healthy meal? Where does Robert F. Kennedy Jr. think?
That's a good question. Well, since I'm not necessarily from Indianapolis, I'm not really sure what to tell you, Rob. What's your favorite place to go to, Rob?
Well, I'm on a radio salary. So, yeah, what does Robert F. Kennedy think about an Arby's or McDonald's?
Oh, Arby's is straight from hell as far as I'm concerned. That's an awful, awful place. Not as worse as McDonald's. You know how much I'm interested in the McDonald's being, President Trump, it's his favorite place.
Have you ever eaten McDonald's? What would you think if somebody sent their mother to McDonald's on Mother's Day?
You mentioned the internet, and actually that awful picture of me on Air Force One with the president, he actually forced me to eat McDonald's, and there wasn't much. I was put on the spot, Rob. It was a tough decision, but I choked it down to say, but
The facials are the best part. So I posted at Robin Kendall a actual facial of Jarrett doing Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and the facials. I wish I'd turned that camera around. They are the absolute best part. See how your career is just lifting off?
I told you, just have your way with me. Let me come on whenever. I'm ready.
He's such a cerebral guy, too. He's like, I hate all you people.
ready to play.
I'm going to go do a newscast now.
Ready to play.
That's enough.
Good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared.
We'll do it again.
It's time to go home. This is your job.
It's time for us to go.
You tell everybody goodbye.
I will. But first, I'm going to say Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
To all of the mothers that are listening. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. We're going to catch you back here on Monday. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
The Indy 500 is not just a race. It's community. It means long bike rides along our city's beautiful canal paths down to the Speedway. It means tailgating with friends and family, some of whom you only see once a year. It means backpack coolers and headphones. But the Indy 500 is also a car race, and the best one in the world. This is Speed City. Welcome to May.
Hi, it's T. Brian Hayes here from the Retirement Money Matters Show. This weekend is a very special weekend as it's Mother's Day weekend, so we are devoting this show to women and mothers everywhere. Unfortunately, women face many challenges when it comes to investing in retirement planning. These challenges that make financial literacy and advanced planning difficult are especially important. So, join us this weekend as we provide some helpful tips to women and mothers because they certainly deserve it. The Retirement Money Matters Show airs this Saturday morning at 6 a.m. right here on WIBC.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey, who's winning? What? Who's winning?
Somebody spinning?
Race fans know the track is loud. For the hard of hearing, this confusion happens every day on the telephone. RelayIndiana.com can help. RelayIndiana.com is a free service that provides telephone access to the hard of hearing, so users have normal phone conversations through relay operators. Relay Indiana also provides free equipment to those who qualify. Enjoy the race and phone conversations. Visit RelayIndiana.com now.
Neighborhoods are popping up everywhere, but if you want something different than what you're currently seeing, Joyner Homes, based out of Greenfield, can build you a unique, custom home on your own private lot or anywhere you can bring your own builder. They've built hundreds of homes across central Indiana. Visit Joyner Homes Model Homes or go to joynerhomes.com to see floor plans and pricing and more. With Joyner Homes, you can even start from scratch if you want. Check out their 5-star Google reviews and visit joynerhomes.com.
This May, you can be a hero at the finish line. Say yes to organ donation and talk to your family about your decision. A message from Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives.
On the level, on the go. 93 WIBC Indianapolis.
Coming up. Bells at the University of Notre Dame's Basilica of the Sacred Heart.
You can come after me if you want.
After deliberating for 7 hours over 2 days.
One of the big challenges is to maintain a high level of edge.
This is the WIBC News at noon.
The celebration continues. You have a clear radar and it's 53 degrees on Monument Circle. Your high today, 69. I'm Ryan Hedrick, and here's what's trending at noon.
He's a citizen of the world. He reminds us that we all have our true citizenship in heaven.
Archbishop of New York Timothy Dolan speaking at a news conference today with Catholic American leaders at the Vatican.
As St. Paul taught us, and that is his role as universal pastor. Where he comes from is sort of now a thing of the past.
Cardinal Robert Prevost, now Pope Leo XIV, was chosen to succeed Pope Francis. He held his first Mass today in the Sistine Chapel and reflected on the responsibilities of his new role.
Through the ministry of Peter, you have called me to carry that cross and to be blessed with that mission. And I know I can rely on each and every one of you to walk with me as we continue as a church.
He is the first American-born pope. He was born in Chicago and spent much of his ministry in Peru. The election of a new pope is likely not about geography or politics. Chris Davis reports on what one Hoosier spiritual leader is saying. The bells at the University of Notre Dame's Basilica of the Sacred Heart at the news of the election of Pope Leo XIV.
The rule of thumb was always because America was such a world power that we probably wouldn't see an American pope.
Archbishop Charles Thompson of the Archdiocese of Indianapolis with comments at a press conference Thursday.
The cardinals got together and identified what are the needs, what do we need to be focusing on, and then who had those gifts.
Thompson says the selection is less about politics and more about being Christ-centered. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News. Funding and infrastructure collaboration are on the agenda as New York City Mayor Eric Adams rolls into Washington, D.C. today for a meeting with President Trump.
The Justice Department directed federal prosecutors to drop a corruption case against Adams back in February, leading to accusations of quid pro quo. Federal prosecutors are set to release documents about that case today that alleged Adams took bribes from Turkish officials. Adams has loosened some of New York City's so-called sanctuary policies for immigrants in the country illegally. The Democrat is running for re-election as an independent.
And that's Fox's Jared Halpern reporting from the White House. Mortgage fraud could be a potential issue for New York Attorney General Letitia James, which is why the Department of Justice has opened a criminal investigation into her.
You can come after me if you want, but you elected me to stand up. You elected me to use the law. You elected me to go to court.
You might remember James led the case accusing Trump and the Trump Organization of faking business records to get better loans while he was running for president. Lawsuits, a murder ruling, a missed deadline, and basketball buzz. All next on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the deal between the U.S. and the U.K. Is that the deal for everybody? That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
And WIBC News Time is 12:03. The Marion County Sheriff's Office says a former deputy was caught on camera stealing from an East Side Walmart, not just once, but at least 8 times. Court documents say Timothy Bevo stole from the Walmart along East Washington Street multiple times over the past few months. Sex abuse can leave lifelong scars, and families in Brownsburg now say they'll fight it out in court.
The families are feeling devastated, blindsided, angry, furious. What happened here is going to create scars on their children for life.
Attorney Catherine Michael telling Wish TV that Gabriel Garner, former Brownsburg daycare worker, is accused of filming child sex abuse. A jury finding a Kokomo man not guilty of murder. Here's Jarrett Lewis.
After deliberating for 7 hours over 2 days, a jury is finding Kokomo man Flint Vincent Farmer